1. And we are live. Welcome back to Talk It Up, everybody. Today's guest here is Tommy Davis. My brother, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I didn't mess up your name.
I know. It's a really,
tough name.
Really uncommon name. People like to spell a
When I think of Tommy,
ways.
did you know? First of all, you're my only friend named Tommy. I want to point that out.
Okay.
Second of all, when I think of Tommy, I think of the Power Ranger.
Yeah. Well,
Name a more famous Tommy.
Tommy Pickles from Rugrats.
He's not more famous than Tommy.
He's not
from
more
Power Rangers.
famous, but he's
at least not in our era.
Yeah.
Well, Rugrats was our era too.
Yeah. Well, I was proud to be a Green Ranger growing up, and
we'll take a poll, listeners. If you think Tommy from Power Rangers is more popular than Tommy from Rugrats, leave it in the comments. I think Tommy from Power Rangers will win.
I think you're right. And green was my favorite color growing up because of Tommy.
But he was also the White Ranger, and I think he switched a few times.
Yep. And he went evil, and I still stuck by his side because his name was Tommy.
Have you ever rewatched any of those old episodes as an adult?
I don't want to say I forced my kids. My kids got into Power Rangers and all the new stuff, and it's it's kind of the same, really. the cheesiness has not stopped at all.
I remember rewatching the old ones. One of my friends, Hector, had one day, I don't know, it was like before the Amazon stick. There was like a way to get these episodes. I think he downloaded it from some BitTorrent site and then streamed it to the TV. And so we had the original season, and we just wanted to watch the first ever season. Uh-huh. And you remember it a certain way, but you remember it different as an adult.
Right.
And here's what I remember. It's like clearly, I didn't remember it as a kid, but like watching as an adult, I'm like, wait a minute. Kimberly was totally into Jason for like the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
They were the love connection.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Tommy shows up, who was a bad guy at first. Yeah. He was like the Green Ranger that what was the evil girl? Rita Repulsa. I'm nerding out right now. Rita Repulsa made him and turned him evil. Like, they didn't make him, took a part of his hair or something, turned him evil. He was the bad Green Ranger that fought them, somehow gets out of the spell and ends up joining the Power Rangers. And Kimberly becomes all about Tommy. Like in movies, they kind of make a reason.
Right.
No reason. Just all of a sudden she's all up on Tommy, and Jason just kind of moved on with his life. And as an adult, I'm like, what about Jason? Like,
well, no, as an adult, you start to understand that they're just like, girls like bad guys. Girls like bad boys.
Bad boys turn good.
Bad boys turn
even
good.
more than bad guys, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I can change him, I bet.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, there's something wrong with him. Let me see if I can get him alone.
He looks like a wonderful project. He has so many wounds, and I have like a ton of gauze.
And a ton of Band-Aids. Let me just
I can just fix them right up. He'll be my new Ken, and I'll get to take all the credit. The girls are going to be so mad at us.
Yeah, he was good again, and she left him, I'm sure.
That's pretty much what it was, man. But I remember watching as an adult thinking, like, how jacked up is this girl?
Right.
But as a kid, I didn't care.
Right.
I was like,
you're like, well, she's going to go for Tommy. Like,
I want to be Tommy because I really want Kimberly.
Right.
I want Trini. What was the other one? There's only 2 girls, huh?
There's 2 girls.
Yeah. I always thought there was a third one.
Yeah. Well,
I guess if you count Billy, he's kind of a girl.
Yeah. No, Billy's definitely a girl. And what's funny is that he's still like really involved with like the whole Power Ranger thing.
He's also an MMA fighter. Did you know that?
Right. Yeah.
He had a few MMA fights.
So I feel like he's still seeing
David
him
Frank,
back.
something. Jason David Frank or something. Frank.
I just think of blue. I just think of the blue Power Ranger, and he keeps coming back. And
the blue one.
Am I wrong?
Wait, I thought you were talking about Tommy.
No.
The blue one was Billy.
Yeah, Billy.
He's still involved?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, Tommy. Yeah, he is MMA, and he is still involved as well. But
what? Did you silence it?
I vibrated it, and the chair just kept vibrating.
I thought you had one friend. I thought you had me, and that's it.
Honestly, I do only have one friend, so it's probably spam.
Oh, it's me.
I didn't see you text me.
I'll hang up.
It was definitely spam.
They're like, we're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Damn it! I thought you were my one friend.
Right? I now see a 5752 something number. As soon as I see the 2 something number, I don't know if it's the same for you.
The 2
it's
something
a 2
number?
something number, and it'll be different. It's like Clovis or Hobbs, and right away I'm like, nope.
I get New Mexico numbers. That's how clever they are. They got our area codes.
Yeah.
And because of my job, like I answer them a lot.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, this is probably them. What if it's important? I'll answer, and then it's some stupid thing.
I hate having a job now that I have to answer every phone call.
Yes,
because 99% of them
are dumb.
And the thing is, and I know this is, I mean, I don't know it's a fact because I haven't read the facts on it. But if you start answering them, you get more of them. If you ignore them and don't answer them, they kind of die out. I swear.
Yeah. Okay. I believe you. I do believe you.
Yeah.
But that was my fear answering them, was like, they're going to call me more now.
I'm like, leave me a message and then we can talk.
Yeah. Those messages are always like blank though, or like,
right. And that's how I know.
End, like for whatever reason, because they heard the voice. Who cares? Those guys are stupid. Stop calling me.
Yeah.
I I feel like I was going to say something though. I got one that was, and they actually started texting and calling my family, which was weird. And it says that there's a lawsuit against me and that I need to respond or else someone they're going to come arrest me.
Yeah. Here's my social security number.
And I that's probably what they're trying to get at. Right off the bat, I was like, this is shady. I'm not doing that. Right. And, but when they started reaching out to my family, they were like, to the point where they told me, and I was like, it's a scam. They tried to get a hold of me to don't do it. They're like, oh, okay. And then now they keep reaching out to him to the point where my family's like, hey man, are you in any sort of legal trouble? And I'm like, now I have to convince them because they're older. They don't know the way that we get tech a little bit more. I'm like, they're trying to scam you. And they're like, it just seems legit. I'm like, that's a good scam. It would be a dumb scam if it seems stupid.
Right.
And so, but they've gotten so clever that they're convincing older people how do they even get my family's numbers? I don't get it. And they ask them about me and they say that I need to give them some info so they can send me the papers. And I'm like, that's not how that works. I've seen enough movies to know they have to serve you in person.
Yeah. So I have a crazy story about
Let's hear it.
Scammers.
Scammer. Did you get scammed?
Scammers. No, I didn't get scammed. I actually, I was working with, some clients in real estate.
Okay.
And I got this long message from my client, hey, there's this thing going on that, people are posting on Craigslist or on Facebook, and that they're renting out the house. And I know everybody sees these Craigslist postings for rentals and they're actually not rentals. They're listings, people trying to sell their house. But I'm sure everybody's been guilty of trying to call this number to rent this house and it's nothing, or getting the long email of, hi, my wife's critically ill in the hospital. I live on the East Coast. Send me your money.
Like a known Craigslist scam?
Right. Yeah. It's a thing. And it's been a thing for a long time as far as rentals go.
I'm not on Craigslist a lot.
I mean, now that I'm doing real estate, I hear about it a lot more.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, she sends me this long email about make sure nobody moves into our house and this. And I'm like, man, what is it's okay. I got it. Don't worry. I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. The very next day, a friend of mine who's in real estate, kind of touches base with me hey, how's everything going? And he lets me know that one of his listings, he just got this weird feeling and drove by his listing that was under contract. It was supposed to close in about 2 weeks from that point, and he drove by and there was people moving into it. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, well, we're from Minnesota, and we saw this listing or this rental, and we gave $6,500, and we lost touch with our landlord yesterday and he hasn't written us. We don't have the key. So we broke in the back window and this and that. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I'm listing this house for sale and you're going to have to move all your stuff out. So it was a family that had all their stuff moving into the house.
So what was the scam? What did the family think?
The scam was that they, somebody set up a rental on Craigslist that he's a landlord of that house, not knowing it was a listing for sale.
I've heard of this. I've heard of something similar to this. And so they thought they were just renting it out for a while.
They thought they were going to rent out the house. It wasn't up for sale, that it was a rental. And they moved from Michigan or somewhere up north. They moved from Michigan or something like that.
And so they paid how much?
He said they put down around $6,000 or something like that.
Oh.
But he's super nice. He helped them move all their stuff back out and took them out to dinner that night.
That's nice. They still got to go back to Minnesota.
He's not the bad guy.
I thought you were going to say he sold them a house or something. And I'm like,
he found him another rental. He found him a 1-bedroom family of 8. There's nothing to rent. The renting market's just as crazy as the.
What if he also scammed them? He's like, I got this other place, man. Yeah. $6,500. I can get you in there.
It's his house. He's like, I know there's a cat that lives there, but I'll get it out.
He just sends him to an ex's house. Yeah. Pockets their money. Never seen that guy in my life. He's like, damn it, how did this happen twice?
I'm like, hold on, let me get my notebook out. This is perfect.
That's crazy. I know we're joking about it, but I've heard stories like that, and that must be a terrible thing. Can you uprooting your life like that? First of all, that person should be smarter, right? You should really check things out. Right. But also, that's got to be crazy, man. I'm sure that wife was mad at him.
Oh yeah.
Was there a wife?
I didn't hear about super intricate details, but
yeah, she was mad. I bet.
100%.
Yeah.
No, you know what? She probably set it up. It's probably her fault.
She scammed him. I said,
no. That she
moved with him.
Yeah. She's like, she set it all up. She got in trouble, but she passed the blame on her husband. So
I saw one because I watch a lot of true crime. There's a YouTube page that I find, and I think it's a channel, but I don't have cable, so I just watch them on YouTube. It's True Crime, or no, what is it called? Crime Daily. Crime Daily, something. Crime Watch Daily or something. Chris Hansen's on it, the Predator guy. Mm-hmm. He's like one of the, but he doesn't do Predator stuff anymore. He's like just, Karen was murdered inside of her house.
Yeah.
But was she? Was she murdered? Was she?
No.
Find out. Like he's like, whoa, what was the point of all that, Chris Hansen?
When did you have to stick around to see if she's actually murdered or not?
When did the pedophiles get here? Every time we see Chris Hansen, you just think of pedophiles.
Yeah.
But it's like he's on there. This wasn't one of his, but there was one where it was a Craigslist thing where they would send this lady. She would find, her name was like, I wish I remember the screen name. Essentially, they thought they were dating this girl, and she would give them her address. She would chat them up for a while, and then she'd say like, "Hey, come over." She would call them so they knew it was a real person, and then they would come over and they would call her like, "Hey, I'm here," like thinking they're gonna like get some or hook up or watch a movie, whatever they were. And she would specifically target like really kind of nerdy people, which, not to be rude, are probably the people that are on Craigslist anyways looking for girls. But I think she like asked for a picture.
I'm like, hey, they're not all weird, okay?
There's like one really chiseled, handsome guy.
There's one guy who has nice hair. He's about
Thor?
6 feet
Is that
tall.
You? Just kidding. And she would tell these people when they got there, they would call her and she would say, "Hey, I have an issue with my door. Just go around to the back. I'll let you in. I'll even leave it unlocked. Just walk in." And it turns out she had these guys with her, like 3 or 4 other gangsters. She's part of a gang, and they were waiting, and they would get these people that walked in, and they would get them and beat them up and mug them. And I guess they would go city to city doing this, and they would get like 4 to 5 marks or whatever, like in a night.
Yeah.
And they would just move to a different city.
Are they like killing these people, or are they like taking their money?
That's how how it ends up on there. They were taking their money, but then they end up killing a guy.
It's like the last one.
No.
Like, wait, this isn't such a good idea, guys.
No. They end up killing a guy, and then it was weird because they end up like talking to a few of the people. But so then it starts off like from like robbing them, and then one of them like accidentally kills one guy because he's going to get away, and he saw their face or something, kills him, and then they get into the killing part, like to where they weren't even like trying to get money. They're like, "This is fun," and then then they just start trying to kill people, and like one guy got away and like turned him in.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 guys got away. One guy got away and was embarrassed. He was embarrassed that he was going to meet a girl online, and he didn't know they were trying to kill him. He thought they were trying to rob him.
Yeah.
And so he didn't report it, and I forgot the full story, but they end up using him to find the like people because another guy gets away and it says this happened to him, and he's like, "That happened to me."
Yeah.
And then he sees the address. He's like, "That was the same house."
Yeah.
And then so he like turns them in because he saw their faces, and that's how they catch him. But yeah, it turns out they like killed a bunch of people.
I hear stories like this, and I'm like, am I raising my kids right to not get on Craigslist to date somebody and get caught in a trap like that?
Wait, are you raising your kids to get on Craigslist?
No, to not ever get on Craigslist.
But not so for that, at least.
Yeah, right.
I think, first of all, you get murdered doing anything. There's so many murder stories. But I think like, and I'm not a parent, but I would hope that you just teach children to like deal with certain situations instead of trying to put them in situations to avoid it.
Right.
Naturally, there'll be some avoidance, right? Like, don't send them to like a place that you know is dangerous.
Right.
But like in reality, like when it comes to that, I think I would just teach my child how to like be on Craigslist. I'd be like, there's a section where there's a lot of funky stuff going on.
Right.
Click on it if you want, but just know this is where all the crime happens.
Right.
And like just kind of like give them the lay.
You will get shot. It's like nothing.
You will get murdered, and then I'll show them that episode of True Crime Daily.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
This will be you.
If you go to the section.
If you click on the section.
There's no vagina in the section. It's not real. It's this lady. Her name is Spider.
Her name is Spider.
Her and her 4 homies are gonna murk you once you walk in that back door.
She does not look like that.
But it made me think of that. I don't know how we got in this. Probably from scams.
Yeah,
from scams.
Classic.
But people are clever. It always makes me think about how, specifically like inmates, people have been to jail. You ever watch any shows about prisoners and stuff?
I have, yeah.
Doesn't it seem like, and I know this will sound like elementary, but if those people just applied themselves, some of the smartest people I've ever seen were like in prison.
Right.
And not that I've been in prison.
They take pride in their street smarts.
Well, some of them I'm like, that is genius. Like the way they did their crime or whatever they did.
Right.
But just used it for bad stuff. I'm convinced the cure for cancer is in prison somewhere.
Right. No, definitely. I mean, seriously, the way you're putting that is some. Yeah. I've definitely thought about that. Is I'm like, not only are these guys innovative, in what they create, what they create and stuff in prison, but the crimes and stuff that led them up to prison. Mm-hmm. It's like, You use that brain of yours to get you in here, you know what I mean? And now you're trying to use your brain to get back out, you know?
Yeah, and some of them do, and then they go right back in. Yeah. I see some where they like find some loophole and get out, and then like doing coke day 3 and they're right back in.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it. Like if you like if I were to met some of these people younger, because older people don't typically, there's a certain age where you just stop absorbing as much, right? But when you're younger, you can kind of redo patterns and relearn things. Sometimes when I see some of these inmates and how clever and intelligent they are, I'm like, if I knew this person younger, I could like help, not just help them, because some of them could help me, right? I'm like, I could show this person they're severely like misusing their talents here.
Yeah.
And I think I could have been that kid when I look back at myself when I was young.
Right.
I could have very easily been like a world-class criminal. Like, and because I was around some people that were crazy criminals. Yeah. And I was super smart. And so like, thank God I had some good friends and I gravitated towards them and I mimicked their behaviors instead.
Yeah.
But I could have easily just been one of these guys on one of these shows, I think.
Yeah. I was probably like 6 years old and I had this thing with lighting everything on fire.
I was one of those. Dude, we're about to have a pyro moment.
Yeah, I was one of those.
So I have a famous story that I'll tell you about fire, but I want to hear yours. What?
Okay, so me and I still remember his name to this day. His name was William.
Tell me you didn't burn this guy, dude.
His name was William. No, he's still, actually, I don't know if he's, I don't know. I'm not in touch with him.
Wait, did you burn this kid?
No.
Okay.
I didn't light him on fire.
Continue.
I lived in Alamogordo. We lived in a trailer park.
Okay.
In a section of the trailer park, there was a bunch of maybe like swamp coolers.
Okay.
I wish I know. I was 6. It was a bunch
of stuff. Sounds like a trailer park. That had a lot of swamp coolers, a lot of window coolers.
Yeah, and like just like excess parts and stuff like that, like on the in its own little lot, and stuff that looked like it had like a lot of like fibers and stuff, and we'd light it on fire, right? Because we thought it was cool. And
do those kind of things burn quickly?
They burn very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
yeah, they like a true pyro.
So yeah.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah, and we roasted a few marshmallows. No, so we would do that and light random stuff on fire, but never anything too crazy. A couple weeks later, I go to his house and he's not allowed to play. I don't know if we went out.
Wait, how old were you? Did you say
I was about 6.
Okay.
6 or maybe I wasn't. I think I was like 6. And I went to his house to play and he wasn't allowed. William was not allowed to play. I was like, dang, what happened to William? He's my only friend. He has a Nintendo. You know what I mean? And I don't have a Nintendo, and I want to go play. I want to go play Super Mario Bros. With him. like, can William play? No, but let William play. No. So anyways, like weeks later, he's able to play. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I lit one of those things on fire, and like a fire truck had to come and this and that. And
just one?
Yeah. And in my head, I was like,
you underplayed that story.
Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? And then I went over to his house. And his parents made a comment like, you guys don't go over there. Like, I know you light stuff on fire and almost lit the whole park on fire. And there was and I went over there and there was like 4 of those big I don't know. I think it was like some sort of cooler that has all the fire just completely black. Like that thing was going up quick. And so, yeah, so that kind of cut out me playing with fire because of like, dang, I could legit like go to jail. I was like,
wait, but you didn't do it. He did it.
No, that's right. But I kind of started because I brought the lighter, and the first time we started lighting things on fire, and I think I might have.
All right, my story's going to be way worse than yours.
Yeah, no, mine wasn't that bad. I
was thinking you were like burning stuff.
No,
but you were right. Into it, like kind of the fire. Because fire's beautiful. Like you ever go to a bonfire?
Yeah.
So like there's a normal thing I think there. But when I was a kid and I never thought about how I have actually had 2 incidences with fires growing up and both of them were pretty bad. And, 3, one of them had nothing to do with me. Fire's a weird part of my life as I talk to you about this. So growing up, I grew up in Louisiana in a trailer, like you said. Here's the first incident. I thought that I could refill my mom's lighter because they had Zippos. They had a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of paraphernalia in this house. They weren't doing the best parenting thing. And I thought as a kid, again, 6, 7 years old, that I would refill her lighter for her. I wanted it to be nice. But it was a Bic. I didn't get how lighter fluid worked. And so I got the yellow, I'll never forget it, the refill thing. And I just started pouring it where the screw at the bottom of the Bic was. And so naturally it just falls everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
That's not how it works.
Going anywhere.
So I just start pouring it in my mom's room next to her bed. No. And I'm like, oh, I get some on me, but I flick it off. I'm just a kid, And I start putting it and I'm like, she's going to like enjoy, she's going to fucking love me so much. I'm going to be her favorite child.
Yeah.
Because I refilled her lighter.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
She smokes cigarettes all day. She'll be
good. So now I'm covered in lighter fluid. So is the bed. And so I'm like, oh, I better make sure I filled it up right. So I turn it over and I light it. and whoo, like the bed starts on fire. I freak out, even though I'm covered in lighter fluid. Like I don't start on fire, which I could have looking back.
Right.
And so now I'm like, I lit the bed on fire. I start throwing pillows on it, which makes the fire get larger. And then I go, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to leave.
Oh.
And so I leave because I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
And I walk outside and I see my brother and my sister playing with some neighbor kids. And I was like, oh, I'll just go to them. And so I go over to them and then we start playing and I look over my shoulder and my fucking house is on fire. Like the whole trailer. And so I'm like playing with rocks and I look over my shoulder and it's like, you see like a huge like smoke cloud. And I was just, I can't believe I'm telling this story right now.
It's just funny that you're just like still like waiting for somebody else to look at it. You're like,
that's literally how my mind works.
Am I still the only one that sees this right now? Or?
Well, at first I thought it would just go out.
Yeah.
Like literally my kid. And when I saw the fire, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I started playing like it. I'm like, oh. And then I thought I should tell someone. Yeah. And then I go, oh my God, our house is on fire. Because my siblings are older. And they go, what? And we run back and my parents, we get there, or my mom and her boyfriend at the time, who was not very nice, they apparently run to the back room. Their bed's on fire. They actually, so it wasn't the house that was on fire. The bed did go. Some of the house got it, but they put it out. But they were able, it turns out in the trailer in their bedroom, not only could you walk in the room, there's also like a door to the outside.
Okay.
So they threw the bed out there and they were pouring a bunch of water on it. The fire people came out. And I just remember being like, whoa, what are the fucking chances?
Yeah, what happened? Did anybody see that? That's crazy.
And then my mom's boyfriend, like, who lit the bed on fire? And it was clear. You could see the bed. You could see where the fire started. I'm not a fire expert, but there was clear burn mark right in the middle and it got less as it went out.
Yeah.
And what's it called? My brother and my sister were like, Will was acting pretty weird when he came over. Like,
yo, not only that, but I had a shitty pair of underwear that was right next to it.
Like my
total
DNA's
dead
on
giveaway.
It. Yeah. And they told them what I had done, and they knew, like, because I'm sure like, it wasn't me, and I'm sure I had like black marks. I was probably covered in the lighter fluid, so they could smell it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a nice guy. He actually threw me on the bed. I'll never forget this, from the top of the trailer.
The burn bed.
Yes, he was like an alcoholic drunk asshole,
and
he was like, "You fucking want to burn my shit?" And he threw me from the trailer onto the burnt bed, like where it was bad. And I fell in there, and he was like,
and all the kids were watching.
Yeah. Well, my brothers and sisters sure were. And I went around, and I got locked out of the house for the day. That's how they did when we were kids.
Yeah.
And so a complete accident, but not like, I don't know if there's a coincidence. Fast forward in life, we moved to El Paso. Oh, so that trailer ends up burning down, by the way. That's how we end up homeless. Not because of me, though. This is actually because of my brother.
Idiot.
Turns out we have a pyro in the family. Yeah. We have a pyro family. No, he actually microwaved a potato, but in foil, because they didn't teach us anything. And we used to make baked potatoes a lot. And so they didn't teach us you couldn't do that in the microwave.
Yeah, idiot.
And so he ends up burning down the trailer. We end up homeless in Louisiana, and we end up moving with my grandma in El Paso. And then, so what is that? 2 fire incidents so far? Literally the whole thing burnt down this time, and we're literally homeless. It was scary. And not only, it's a weird feeling, even as a kid, I can imagine how my parents felt, but literally nothing. It's a weird feeling, like our whole house burnt down.
Right.
And we're like, it wasn't like we packed up. We just had nothing. We had no money, no nothing. So my grandma paid for a ticket. We hopped in a Greyhound bus. Yeah. 2-day ride. We ended up in El Paso. Years later, about 2.5, maybe 3 years later, same thing. I get this great idea to play with this lighter outside, and I end up burning my neighbor's tree down. And his name was Rainey. Poor guy. Was old man, lived next door, never came out of his house. He had one of those long trees, like pointy, like a Christmas tree, but skinny. And
it's the trees that people use to block out the neighbors.
Yes, exactly what it was. And I was playing with just burning stuff. I wasn't trying to start a fire. I was burning a paper and putting it out. And then I went to burn it. It really got going. And then my mom called me. I got scared and threw it. And it ended up burning this tree down. Same thing. Fire people had to come and put the tree out. And then my mom, that's when she was like, what? This is a third fire since you've been in our family, Will, even though I was in our family our whole lives. And so she was like starting to put it together.
Since I introduced you to our family.
And so like later on in life, I'm like, I did have a weird connection with fire, but also like kind of a coincidence and kind of cluelessness.
Right.
But yeah, I burnt down a bed, a tree, and my brother burnt down a home.
But you had to use that against your brother, didn't you?
You know, it wasn't what's funny is I don't. Like, I forget that it was him.
You're like, so what? I burned down the bed. Like, you burned down the whole house. Like, what about it, you know?
I forget that was the reason.
Do you want a baked potato?
Kind of not anymore. Kind of never.
You're like,
thanks for bringing up some hard shit, Tommy.
Hey, bro, can you go bake me a baked potato real quick?
In the microwave, right?
Yeah, in the microwave.
You have foil? I don't do it without foil.
Yeah, I don't do it.
That's not how I roll. But when you brought up the fire thing, that's what it reminded me. It's crazy because it's funny how this we talked about this before we came in here. I'm like, when you're on the podcast, these ideas will pop up.
Right.
I'm just realizing, telling you the story, how much fire like played a role in my childhood.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that big of a thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. And sorry that I didn't create any destruction, but
you were part of it though.
I was part of a fire truck getting called. I mean,
you were. It
that shows you how much trouble I haven't gotten into my life.
And then your friend was also William.
Yeah. I know that. I thought that was a cool part of the story. I was
these parallels. Yeah.
I'm like, we got to talk about another William. It's gonna be
what?
Awesome.
Did you grow up here in Las Cruces?
Yeah, most of my life I did.
Yeah.
So my dad was military. He was Air Force, born in California. Went to Georgia, then he got out and he was a K-9 cop. He did K-9 stuff in the Air Force.
Your dad was a K-9 and a cop?
Right. And then he was a K-9 and he barked he barked at people.
He's very wolfy.
Yeah, he's very wolfy.
So your dad was a police officer?
Yeah, so we went to Farmington. And all this happened.
He was a police officer in Farmington?
Right.
I would assumed he came here because of Holloman. You mentioned Air Force.
Right. Well, he's from Alamogordo.
Okay, gotcha.
So him going back to Farmington was like New Mexico, being closer to his family. And I don't know how long he was in the academy, or not the academy, how long he was a police officer for. But anyways, all that happened by the time I was like 5.
Really?
And then we're in Alamogordo until I was almost 8. And then I Las Cruces.
So you've been in New Mexico
pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
I was a military brat for like 2 years.
And then you ended up joining the military.
Right.
Do you think that was obviously a different branch? You did the Navy.
Right.
Was that inspired at all by your dad?
No, I mean it.
I always wonder. Let me just re-ask the question then. What inspired you to join the Navy?
You know what's funny is I was just telling my kids the story.
I could be your kid too.
Yeah. Would you like to be my 4th child?
Only if you let me burn down the house.
Start with the bed.
Oh, I was going to.
And then bake me a potato.
But only because I want to refill your lighter. It comes from love.
So, got into college. I was a music major. I was a vocal major in college.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, I was a vocal major in college and did 2.5 years of that. And simultaneously, I got into working at the movie theater.
Okay.
And helped open up Cineport 10. So I'm so proud of. No, but really, I was there. I got hired basically to be one of the new employees at Cineport 10.
Okay.
At a theater at the mall, and I was there for about 3 years, and I eventually got on probation at school because all my music friends were older than me, and they were successful and on the path of what they were doing, but they could party and they could still go to school, and I couldn't keep up with their habits, and so I just didn't do very good in school, and eventually got on probation. So I was just working at the movie theater, and I loved it. Okay, it was
like academic probation.
Academic probation, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was that's a good way to clarify. Yeah, I was academic probation, so I couldn't go back to school unless I paid thousands, $3,000, which at the time like $3,000 when you're 20, 21 sounds.
And then they make you like there's like a limit on classes or something. There's like a certain
it just sounds like you'll never be able to get $3,000. That sounds like you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I was at the movie theater and I loved it there. Like we were such a tight knit group of coworkers. We always partied like 4 nights a week. We all got along like between the Telshore 12 and the Cineport 10, the 2 theaters, because we were like our own separate work crews, but we'd all get together and all party. Like we're all best friends. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm doing absolutely nothing with my life. I was like,
guys and girls.
I'm having so much fun in my life. I need to become a man. But really, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to mature up. I need some structure. I didn't have any structure. I was like, mom and dad will take care of it. You know what I mean? I mean, not so much that mom and dad will, but I was just, I just felt like nothing could go wrong. And I was just, making $600 a month and buying fast food. And I thought that was enough. You know what I mean?
I can relate, man.
But yeah, so that's why I joined. That's basically why I joined the Navy. And my dad did have a part in that. And I think he was kind of pushing me to be like, I told him about it initially, and then he was kind of pushing me like, hey, let's do it. Like, if you're going to do it, let's go. Like, I'm taking you there now kind of thing. And I was like, all right. So I got there and got in the program and did
it worked out. You did how many years in the Navy?
I did 4 years. I did my 4 years. I did my whole term. And my excuse was to get out and go back to school.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I was in so much, so deep with my GPA. I did 1.5 years. So I did 3 semesters, and I had like a 3.8. Like it shows you like your maturity level, like after the material, you know, the military. And and I was just so far back that the degree that I wanted, I was going to be there, you know, 8 years for a 4-year degree. And I was like, nope. So. And
then you ended up, because you've done a bunch of stuff, man. You did bartending for a while.
Bartending, became a manager where I was bartending, and then got a management position at RAD, and the night scene wasn't for me, and I was like, how can I make money and be my own boss? And I got into real estate. So. And
you're doing pretty good at that too. Yeah. And you sold us the house for the people listening. This is our real estate agent. So this amazing studio you guys all watch Talk It Up podcast in is because this guy right here.
And this house is like perfect for you guys.
And we looked at a bunch of houses. It wasn't like we kind of like hit you up and this happened.
Right.
Like we had been looking at houses for a year at least, like before. And then with obviously not entirely the whole year, there's a gap in between when we stopped looking, but it was super helpful. We're so glad to get in here, and now it just feels like our home.
Right.
It's so strange that we ever lived in the other place. Well, I'm sure it's different for her because it's her childhood home, but
it's crazy that you guys moved here because coming into this house already had a homey feeling anyway.
It did.
And I go into houses and I'm like, dang, and people buy it and I'm like, dang, how are they going to make that their home? You know, and I think that, and I feel like coming into this, it already had like a nice warm feeling, and I love having that inviting feeling when I'm looking at houses. And it's funny because Laura is a very
she's in touch with her feelings.
She's in touch with her feelings.
Yeah, she's energies and and that sounds silly. If someone like when you say someone's into energy, they always think of some like hippie voodoo lady.
Right, Laura.
Oh, kind of. If we want to make fun of her, we can do that. No. But she's like, she's really in tune with like the way things feel, like emotion, the things that guys turn off because we don't want to really go there.
Right.
Like she's really in tune with that, which is why we balance each other very well.
Definitely.
But it did have like a homey vibe, and it wasn't like I thought about this once we moved in. What does that really mean to have a home vibe? And I started thinking about, well, what's the opposite of a home vibe? And I thought about how some houses kind of feel like a facility.
Right. Yeah.
And then I thought, why would I hate that so much? And then I thought about some of the facilities I've been in. Yeah. I remember getting arrested as a child. I literally been to juvenile jail. I've been to a group home. I've been to a youth shelter. I've been to a rehab. I mean, I started thinking like the facility feel, and I'm like, that's why like I hate it so much. And I'm not literally talking, but some homes are made out of brick, and brick is exactly what a lot of the facilities were made out of that I went to.
So brick was a no-go for you?
It wasn't a no-go. Like, I guess if you like dolled it up and I didn't know it was brick, it'd be cool. It wasn't like it was like some places just feel like a facility, and you know what I mean because you've showed houses. Some of them feel like it's like a business should be there. But like it's slightly a home,
right?
Like there's home stuff in it, like a kitchen or counter and a bathroom,
stove,
but it feels like it would be like converted into something. I don't know. I like this house because it did feel like a home. It felt like something you could put your own touch on. I feel like something that already had a bit of a touch on it, and so I liked it.
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah, it was a fun experience.
I have a question for you because maybe people listening are probably either recently bought a house because a lot of people have, or considering it. What has it remained the same with COVID chilling out? So I feel like COVID is the reason for the spike. Am I wrong about that?
COVID is the reason for the spike.
And is it staying the same, chilling out? What is it doing?
The market's crazier now than it was when I sold you guys your house.
I kind of feel that way. Okay. So I'm right then.
Yeah.
Because I thought, which is why I asked you if it was because of COVID, because COVID's kind of chilling out a bit, at least people's reactions to it. But I agree. It seems like it's kind of still going up. And so I'm like, oh, gee, maybe COVID started it, but it seems like something else is happening.
Right. So as of now, I think the story all along is people are trying to take advantage of the interest rates. You know, whenever your interest rate's in the 3%, when normally it's in the 4 or 5, you don't understand how big of a jump that is in your monthly payment. So people are getting more house. People are able to afford a $300 house versus a $210,000 house because their interest rate's 2 points lower than it would have been. That's kind of that's kind of the vibe I'm getting on why it initially picked up. And so they dropped the interest rate so low, and I can't give you the exact year, but it hasn't been, because they got to like the 2.5, 2.75, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think I had maybe one client that was in the 2s. Which is insane. VA is different. VA, I've had a few in the VA that they get in the 2s, but so with interest rates being so low, it's been, making everybody go crazy wanting to buy a house. And with COVID happening, they purposely dropped the interest rate to keep the market alive and going. So COVID is kind of what sparked this.
So why would it be getting crazier?
Because
why do you think?
Oh, now than 6 months ago?
Why are people still buying houses crazy? Yeah.
We're getting, it's all over the map, but it's a lot of people from out of state, a lot of people from California. A lot of people are trying to get out of California.
I saw that. Yeah. A lot of people, I heard Phoenix, but Arizona in general is booming.
Yeah. Yeah. Arizona is booming. Texas, New Mexico, a lot of states are booming, but a lot of out of towners, a lot of people are buying investment properties.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are buying vacation, New Mexico or Las Cruces is, we're getting all the Wisconsin people, Michigan people, this is where the snowbirds come, Arizona and New Mexico, where all the snowbirds come. But I mean, that's all the time anyway. And, everybody's like, the market's going to crash. In 2009. I've heard from, I'm new into real estate, I'm in my first year. They're like in 2009, whenever the market crashed, we didn't feel a whole lot of the effect on that. Like we were still kind of busy here in Las Cruces.
Yeah.
So, and that's just how we're just such a fast growing us. And, Rio Rancho actually took number 1 in New Mexico, but we're number 2.
Are we still considered a retirement community?
I think we're still considered college town first and then retirement community.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I always forget we're a bit of a college.
Yeah, I do too. And I hear it all the time. And then you look at the numbers and you look at the people that come in for school. And you're like, okay, we are a college town first.
Some of the coolest people I've ever met were here just for school. And if you go to like any of those bars on University, like Bosque is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I always meet, not just at Bosque, some in Las Vegas. I always meet the coolest Middle Eastern dudes that are here for like engineering school.
Yes.
And they have the coolest stories.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. It's, one of my like best memories ever. First time I went to college. I talked about how I went to college twice earlier. First time I went to college. One of my best friends is like, hey, I have some, Middle Eastern buddies that, they want us to go smoke hookah. Cool. Let's go smoke hookah at their apartment.
Did you do it?
Go. Oh yeah, for sure. And they had like 6 hookahs, like no big deal. They had, you know what I mean?
I thought you said a sex hookah.
Yeah, a sex hookah.
They had a sex hookah?
Yeah, we put one in there, but no. They had like 6 different.
Was it wearing something that covered its hair?
No, exactly.
Why is this hookah?
Why is this hookah so scandalous? I was like, this is a naughty hookah.
I literally thought you said a sex hookah.
No.
What did you say?
6.
They had 6?
Quantity. Like they had.
Wouldn't that be 6 hookahs?
6 hookahs. Yeah.
I heard you say hookah.
I think I said hookai. 6 hookai.
Hookai?
I'm just kidding.
Is this some sort of Dragon Ball Z?
Hookai. They had 6 hookai. No, I'm just saying they had, I don't know, maybe they had 50.
So they had a bunch of hookahs. They had their own hookah bar going on in their house.
Basically they had their own hookah bar, like nothing big. It was just a couple friends, right? Smoking hookah. And these dudes at midnight are going to town on some food, like cooking. And I'm all, okay, what's going on? And, we're sitting there smoking hookah, drinking, chilling. Like you said, just some of the coolest stories, coolest people. I'm a prince from this area. And it, and like, it's like, I believe this shit up? They could be making it up, but
give me the story.
Yeah, they're balling, and their repercussions for not passing their classes are pretty bad. So it's like, they better get there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just from what they said. But anyways, smoking hookah, chilling. And I'm like, man, this just smells so good. What's going on? Next thing I know, there's this gigantic thing of food. There's chicken. I don't know. It was a bunch of stuff. Rice, just a bit on the floor. We all sit on the floor. And what are we doing? Because it's part of their culture is we're grabbing the food with our hands and eating it with our hand. And we smoke hookah and we're drunk and had like one of the best meals of my entire life with my hands. Yeah. Middle Eastern food. I've been in the Middle East through the Navy and I love Middle Eastern food.
Really?
They just know how to use their spices.
I was gonna say,
I swear they know how to use their spices for sure.
The ones that I met I met a few different groups of people, but this very specific one that came to mind was at Della Vegas. And me and Stefan went out one night and it was a random night. It wasn't even like a night it was like a Tuesday or something. About to go up on a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. We went to Della Vegas and we're around that fire they have on that back patio. And one Middle Eastern guy was by himself. And you know me, I talk to everyone. I go, hey man, fuck you doing? It's just like his big old beard. He's like obviously Middle Eastern.
Right.
What are you doing, man? Just chilling in that corner. And he was like, he had a beer, he was a little bit tipsy, and he's like, oh, I'm just chilling in his accent or whatever. I don't want to do it or I'm going to get canceled.
Right.
And I said, come over and chill with us. And he's like, cool. And he comes over and he's chilling with us. And then I thought I was trying to do something nice for him. I'm like, there's this dude chilling. He's all by himself. We're here and people get racist. I mean, he can come chill with us. And, but it turns out he was meeting his friends there. So it ended up being
a huge old freaking.
Me and Stefan and like 8 Middle Eastern dudes.
That's awesome.
And they were all around the fire.
Yeah.
And then there's this one, he was like the chief. Yeah. I don't know how racist I can get here. He was like the main dude of the Middle Eastern group. And that he spoke the best English. It was pretty racist. No. He spoke the best English and he understood American culture the best. But some of the other ones did a little bit. And then there's like 2 or 3 that just had no idea, but you can tell they're really good at reading body language. Mm-hmm. And we had a genuine conversation about the Quran and about what he believes. And it ends up getting, long story short, we ended up getting into this argument, which is kind of funny because on the last podcast, me and Yemi brought up like holding in your ejaculation. Mm-hmm. And this guy ends up telling me that in his culture that he believes that it's a sin to finish. Because, and I said, why? And he said, well, because part of you're giving it away and God created you and you deserve to give yourself fully back to God when you die. And therefore, when you finish, you give part of yourself away. What? And that's a sin.
I've never heard that. That's awesome.
So then do you see how like me and like a guy like you as well? I'm like, wait, what? And then I started getting
like, I heard it's good for your prostate to ejaculate. So and then, I'm trying to stay healthy. I was
like, well, what about masturbation? And then I was like, you're giving part of you to like a sock or like a water toilet paper. And then he goes, that's very,
I wash my socks.
He's like, that's very different, my friend. And I'm like, nah, man, you're just like, you're trying to find a way to get away with sin. And his friends thought it was funny. And so me and this chief start like argue. I feel bad calling him a chief. This main guy. Yeah. We're arguing about, like, I thought that he was using ejaculation, like masturbating to get out of his own culture's thing of not having sex. Yeah. And then I was like, dude, you're cheating the rules here, man. And it became really funny. And then towards the end of the night, he goes, he asked me if I want to smoke some tobacco with him. Mm-hmm. And I go, what is it? He had it in a pouch. Mm-hmm. And I'd been drinking a lot. It kicked in. I'm like, yeah, I feel some tobacco. And I go, yeah, man, what is it? He goes, oh, it's straight from Afghan. And he has a bag with all these symbols on it. And I was like, and then Stefan looks over at me like, don't smoke that shit. Yeah. And then I look at him and I go, hey man, like, is it like tobacco? Yes, it's tobacco. And I'm like, but like, is it like going to get you high? And he's like, well, it's tobacco. Like, and I was like, is it drugs? I mean, you can say what you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, I can't smoke this with you guys.
I'm on for the ride. Please tell me you did it.
No, I did not. I was, because I was in the middle of like, and I don't smoke weed. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, if this thing remotely gets me high, it's a wrap on my night. And I was having a good night. Right. And so I was like, I ended up not smoking with them. And they all laughed whenever I was like, is this going to get me high? Like, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be the butt of these guys' jokes. Yeah. This guy already thinks you should hold your semen in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're arguing about all kinds of crazy stuff. So I ended up not doing anything. But just, it was one of those nights where we left again on Tuesday. There wasn't a big crowd. There wasn't live music. It was just me and Stefan that ran to a bunch of Middle Eastern guys. So cool. They never once made me feel bad. I'm not religious at all. Mm-hmm. I asked them genuine questions about their religion and they never got offended that I asked. Mm-hmm. And they never asked me like what I thought of their thing or asked me what I believed in unless I wanted to talk. I ended up telling them I don't really believe in anything, which allows me to like ask genuine questions and kind of like get into different religions. Yeah. It was never rude. There was never tension. I literally at one point asked them, hey, do you guys feel nervous being around Americans? And like some of the other ones said yes, but the main guy was like, no, like that's why they're here with me. Yeah. Honestly, in New Mexico, he was saying in New Mexico, people are very nice to him and his people, and people from his background. Right. But he did say like he has a friend in New York and it's a little rough there. But he was saying that they come to school here for engineering because first of all, we're one of the best engineering schools, but also like, I guess it was nice to hear from another culture that we are pretty like open here. Right. There's some racist jokes. There's some racisms, but compared to most places, we're pretty chill. Right. Yeah. According to these guys.
No, definitely. And it's crazy that you bring up like how nice and genuine these people are because, you know, we kind of have this stigma from, you know, obviously, you know, the war in the Middle East that, you know, we've been there for forever now. And when I was there, you know, I went to Abu Dhabi. Which am I in, you know, the middle of Afghanistan? No. But, you know, I was in UAE and
it's like an island, right?
Man, yeah, it's connected to the country, but they do have the most man-made islands in the world. But man, the people are just so extremely nice and so welcoming. Yeah, and I mean, I say that, and then like a week later, we're on our ship going back, and we have one channel on the ship. Mm-hmm. We're in the middle of the ocean, and there's word that a mall that I was just at in Abu Dhabi that an American teacher got stabbed in the girls' bathroom.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I don't know what I'm laughing about, but I'm like, man, these people are so nice. And I don't know if it's a race. I don't know.
But think about it like this. Teachers get stabbed in bathrooms here in America.
Yeah, no, that's true.
If some Middle Eastern dude was on his way back and like, what? Some fucking teacher stabbed his kid in like Cleveland? That'd be like the same thing. To Cleveland. I love how I give everyone a racist Indian accent, by the way. Yeah. I'm trying my best here to play this off. But that's kind of what happened with you. I think what it is we don't know enough, right? And you're right. Like, it's like these people are so nice.
Right.
And we talked about this on a previous podcast. Can you imagine who's the loudest voice over the last 4 years of Americans? It was Donald Trump. Can you imagine if everyone in the world, if they only saw America and Donald Trump, they would meet Americans and think that's who we were.
Right. No, and that's so true. Yeah.
If we don't want people to do that to us, and we now know after having this president that we had, let's not turn around and do that to other people. I'm not saying that you did or they did or whatever, but it's kind of like that. I do it. People do it where we kind of like, we would go Italian. We think pizza. We think meatballs. We think overweight people. We think cigars. Like there's or whatever. These are just what I think. I can imagine what everyone else thought.
Right.
And so it's like we, if you're in Jersey, you think of the Guidos and the tan, whatever.
Right.
But it's like we only know that. Like, but I guarantee you, there's a guy in Italy that hates pizza.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I guarantee there's a guy in Italy that doesn't smoke at all and never has, or is super in shape.
Definitely.
And not, you know what I mean? And so it's like, but we associate these mass things or these things that we think we know. And so it's like weird how, and we do that as a society with everything. Like if I met one, which not me personally, but had I met just one yoga person that was out of their mind, like all into it, it would be annoying to me.
Yeah.
But then I've met some really cool people that have done yoga. Laura does yoga. I've been to yoga. It's very different. Right. And so it's like, and you could replace that with anything, but you really, first impressions matter. And so does like your interpretation of stuff. You really have you ever been told a movie sucked and then watched it and you're like, I kind of like
Working at the movie theater, that happened to me.
Where like, oh, that movie sucks. And then you watch it and you go, is it weird that I love this movie?
And the thing, I'm a firm believer on expectations. I hate when people tell me a movie is great.
Okay.
Because I can't go into a movie thinking it's going to be bad. And then I leave thinking, dang, that movie is not as good as those people made it. I mean, there's time that the movie is great. You know what I mean? But I'm one of those people like, the movie sucked. I go and I'm like, dang, the movie wasn't that bad. The movie's great. Dang, the movie was not that great. You know?
I don't mind if people tell me. It doesn't affect it. But I'll watch a movie that people said sucked if it piques my interest.
Yeah.
And I'll go into it kind of free-minded. What I hate is when a movie's, when you think it's going to be good because you watch a trailer and it's like epically bad, or every good part was in the trailer and you're like, God damn it. Like the best parts of the movie were all in the trailer. There's no like exciting thing. I hate movies like that.
Let me play off that.
Right.
Recently I love Disney.
So do I.
It's
a loaded statement though, because Disney owns ESPN. Saying love sports, man.
No,
Disney owns a lot of stuff.
I'm just trying to get into
like cartoons. I'm getting into
Disney movies, Disney
like
cartoons.
Star Wars.
I do really like Star Wars. I'm not a Star Wars nerd. I love Disney. So Cruella came out. I was not excited to watch Cruella. I was like,
like you didn't like the trailer.
I don't want to take. I was okay. I'm not a huge Emma Stone fan.
Okay.
I'm just not like. I just don't get the whole. Like little stink face.
She kind of looks like she smells like cat pee.
Yeah. And it's funny because I like a lot of movies that she's in, and I definitely don't hate her. Like, you know, she's. Anyway.
I find myself liking her more recently, but I know what you mean. There's a time where I'm like not a huge fan.
But Cruella came out and we watched it the other night, and I was taken. It was a great movie.
You liked it?
Yeah. I hope I don't ruin it for people by saying it's a great movie.
Oh, if they're watching this, turn off.
But I will say that my expectations were not high for it at all. And it had some content, took some turns that I wasn't expecting. And the overall product was amazing. So
I liked it for what it was.
Right.
If that makes sense. I liked it for a Disney movie, but I didn't like it for a movie. When someone asked me, Laura asked me what I rated it, and I actually gave it a 6, maybe a 7. If it was a good day, I might have given it a 7. But my genuine response was a 6 because I'm not a Disney fan. I don't have kids. So this makes sense, right? Because for what it was, I get how it was a good movie, but I didn't like, there's a lot of cheesiness in there. And there was a lot of and the one thing I'll give the movie credit for, and again, we're going to ruin this shit. So if you haven't seen it, turn it off. The scene where the Dalmatian kills her mom, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Dalmatians kill my mom. We're going to go with that whole thing. I said
the same in the beginning. I said the same thing.
I was so annoyed. And I'm glad they saved it a bit.
I was right there with you. And I was like, this is dumb. I was like, let's turn this off. I swear I was right there with you. I promise.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so dumb. Like, okay. And here is where I'm going to put a little twist on what you're saying about it being cheesy. What I loved about her friends, the criminals, is that they almost put a comedic, whimsical twist to how they were always getting into things.
Why were they so loyal to her? This was my gripe with the movie. Anyone who treats those guys the way she treated them when she became Cruella, you wouldn't be that person's friend. And even when she was treating him so bad and he came in, he's like, I don't know, like I have a soft spot for you. And she's like, will you help me? Like she wasn't even nice. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. I was like, again, Disney works out perfect. But I'm like, no friend that was doing something because they were helping her. Well, and she was being rude, and I'm like, no, that's
okay. They
would not be friends,
and she was a biatch. But when it comes down to the beginning to the end, she was loyal to her friends.
Was she though? All right. Here's how it works out: is if the friends are also evil in the next movie,
right?
Then I'll go like, okay, cool. But they seem like good people.
She
seemed like what used to be a good person who was becoming bad, and they seem like just good friends, good people.
Right. No, I totally get what you're saying.
That's the only way I would be okay with that. I just loved
how all the crime they were committing was like not realistic. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought. That's what I was getting the whole cartoony vibe. But I like how they stuck to that. They're like, let's not make some things realistic. Like, let's have these guys hanging from, you know what I mean? From ropes and you know, I don't know. It was just some random things that happened.
And I really liked what they did. Like the whole, like, I am the future face paint. There's some abstract stuff. Yeah.
Especially for the time period.
Yeah, and then the concert when she comes out. I love how they did a play on that. Right. Again, for a Disney movie, it was pretty cool. I'm just not a huge fan of that style.
Okay, well, let's hear a 9+ for you.
A 9+? So I'm weird. Does it have to be a newer or older movie?
Give me 2 or 3 of your 9.
So I'll give you, let's go older real quick.
Okay.
So 2 of my favorite movies of all time. I love Fight Club.
Okay.
Because of the story. I really care about the way they put stories together. The acting was amazing with Edward Norton and Brad Pitt. The other girl, I can never remember her name.
Edward Norton's so underappreciated.
Yes, agreed. And Boondock Saints was another one of my go-to movies. So I like the movies like that where the actors are good, but the story, it just comes to life. Those are both 2 older movies.
Right.
But they're 2 of my all-time favorite movies. I think I've seen both of those movies. I want to say hundreds, but if I'm being honest, like 50 times plus each of them.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. And I'm trying to think of newer movies that I would, a 9+, because it's very rare to get a 10.
It is hard. It is hard because I feel like with newer movies and with social media, people are so quick to put a stigma on everything.
Yes.
And so I feel like you think older classic and newer movies like, well, this is horrible for this reason. And that, I don't know.
It depends what kind of movie watcher you are, I think.
Exactly. And when you just describe your 2 movies, I'm like, dang, Meanwheel, like as much as we get along, like I was never a huge fan of Boondock Saints. Was it a good movie? Yeah, it was a good movie.
To me, it was amazing.
You're right. Fight Club, I'll agree with you. I think Fight Club's an amazing movie. But you know, I'm like on the comedic side, but I'm also, and a lot of people look at him as a one act actor kind of, but Leonardo DiCaprio,
I think that guy's amazing at everything he does.
Yeah, I think The Wolf of Wall Street was a ridiculous performance.
It was so underrated too. People weren't talking about it. We went to watch it one day when we saw it in the theaters, and it was just because we liked Leo.
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't even heard of it. Like, I watched that. Leo's in it. And it ended up being one of my favorite movies with him and ends up winning a bunch of stuff.
Right. But
I think they severely like underpromoted that movie for how awesome it was.
Yeah. That and Inception, movie. I think, as far as Leo movies go.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a Leo movie I don't like, if I'm being honest. He kills it. Yeah. It's crazy to think he didn't win an Oscar for that one.
I think the one that he won the Oscar in is not my top
Revenant?
5 Leo
Never
movies.
even saw it.
No.
Oh, damn. We're like going to get busted right now.
Okay.
I never saw it.
I liked it, but like, I mean, I think he played a good role, but I think it was a guilt award. I think
they knew they owed him.
I think he was owed 5 times over, honestly. I mean,
Shutter Island was good.
Shutter Island was ridiculous.
He was, even Gatsby, and I don't get into movies
Great
like
Gatsby
that.
Is hot.
I don't get into lovey-dovey. You know what I hated about Great Gatsby, which is one of Laura's favorite movies, by the way? Because I love Leo so much, I actually can take the parts of the movie I like and just live with that. But I hate how he was about her. And girls love how he was about her because I know we're going to piss some people off right now. Yeah. She treated him like shit.
Yeah.
Because he loved her and she was like, I don't know. And she went off and had a life, right? With this guy, had a baby, and then cheats on that guy pretty much with Gatsby, right? Yeah. People forget that.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, they love each other. She had a fucking husband and a kid at home and is off hanging out with Gatsby, right? And then when Gatsby's like, I love her, I'm willing to do anything for her, she's like, I don't know, I still love him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, and I hated the way she treated him. And then to the very, very end, when she ends up killing this fucking lady, who, by the way, is one of my favorite actresses that she killed. I forgot her name, but Sacha Baron Cohen's wife, the nympho girl in American Wedding or Wedding Crashers.
Isla
Fisher. Isla Fisher is the one who plays the lady, right? So she runs her over. Gatsby takes the blame for it and still loves her and protects her and stays at her house waiting. And she never shows up. And some dude kills him. And like the girls that watch the movie are like, oh my God, it's a love story. No, it's a story about a guy that loved a girl way too much. Yeah. She didn't love him that much. Yeah. She wasn't very nice to him.
You can have all the money in the world and not the girl to love you.
Went back. She was an asshole to her husband and she was an asshole to him. And I didn't like her in the show. And so that's why the movie upsets me.
Dude, I don't know. I'm with you. I'm all about Great Gatsby. I mean, his younger stuff too. Romeo and Juliet, me and my sister, and even Laura, have always been all about it and love the artistic direction they took on that. And
he's a good actor.
Yeah.
He killed it.
But
he's one of it's better to pick an actor and actress that you like, as opposed to like a movie. Because like when you ask me, this whole time I've been trying to think of like 9 pluses, and I'll probably think of them all when we're not doing this podcast. But I'm having a hard time because I can pick a little bit. Some of my favorite movies are just favorite to me. Like I get that they're not like blockbustery major movies, but I really enjoyed them. I like the story ones. The storyline matters a lot to me.
Right.
And then if you can relate, like Crash, I know that wasn't like a famous one, but that movie, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Just the diverse characters, the stories, the way they all kind of intertwined. If it's a movie that makes you want to watch it again to pick up on things you missed, that's my kind of movie.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my movie creativeness isn't on that level. I'm like Dumb and Dumber is like one of my all-time favorites. Do I think it's I don't think it's I don't think it's a 9+. I mean for comedy level, I think Dumb and Dumber is a staple. I think
what would be your favorite Jim Carrey movie?
Dumb and Dumber.
Really?
Easy. Yeah. I'm not, and the thing is, I'm not a huge Jim Carrey fan.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
I know. I love early Jim Carrey, and then he just washed
he's a strange guy. Have you kept up with him at all?
Not recently. After a scandal with his ex, and she ended up committing suicide and blaming it on him, I was like.
So he became weird after that, which, by the way, is a weird story. Not a lot of people know that. Yeah, she killed herself and left a suicide note pretty much saying that it was his fault.
Because she got herpes.
Is that what it was?
That was one of the main reasons. I'm like, because you got herpes, you killed yourself.
But all I know, I think it was deeper than that. I think that it was she had blamed him for stuff. All I know is he started acting weird. He stopped doing comedies and started being in a serious role.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with him. He had really grown his beard out really big, and he was just awkward. And he was referring to himself as a character, and he was just saying, "I had fun as Jim Carrey." It was weird. He was acting as if Jim Carrey was an actor.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, this suicide really hit a toll on him. Yeah. And his daughter is a really pretty girl. She was actually on American Idol, and she's a singer.
I didn't know that.
And I thought this is another. And I'm really into him, so I kind of follow this stuff. He had a daughter that was on American Idol, and he could have paid for all this stuff for her, but that's the kind of person that he is as a father. Is he wanted her to earn it and to try to get her name out there and grow her own popularity. So he pretty much had her audition for American Idol, and she was good enough to make it. And she didn't make it too far in the show. She made it past the first few rounds. So she made it to where there's a live crowd and stuff, and got cut. But I thought man, what a cool guy. But yeah, I think that suicide really messed with him because he started getting all spiritual. And when you see him in interviews to this day, he's kind of wide-eyed. And he's like, well, we're all on this journey of life. And that's kind of how he is.
That was great.
And we all just want to be better people.
You say.
You say. The mask.
Like a glove.
Yeah. But I love that guy. When I was a kid, I wanted to be just like him because his energy. And I grew up in a really sad
You wanted to imitate everything. Sorry.
But no. Exactly what it was. I really enjoyed the way his movies made me feel. There's a scene in Ace Ventura the original one, not When Nature Calls, Pet Detective. Mm-hmm. And he's talking to the girl from Friends. She was also in Pet Detective. Mm-hmm. Courtney Cox, is that her name? And he's telling the story, and the scene gets really like emotional when he's telling a story about how a dog bit him when he's a kid. Do you remember the scene?
Yes.
He's like, yeah, and the dog came up on me, and in my dream, he just kept biting me. And then I woke up, and check this out. And he pulls his collar down, and when she goes to look at it, he's like, and then he goes, sorry. And she goes, it's okay. And like the movie just continues. And as a kid, I thought that was so funny. I was like, what? He was just so like, why did he do that? And so I kind of act like that
right
now.
Right.
And so I was like, I drew a lot of energy from him. I just liked the way he was. And as a kid who grew up in a bad home that didn't have a lot of joy, when I watched his movies, I was like, that's how I learned joy in a really bad home where I didn't have a good role model. Not that Jim Carrey is the best role model,
right?
But I remember watching his movies and thinking like, I'll do what he does because it brings me joy to watch him act dumb. Maybe it'll bring someone else joy. Right. And that's how I learned joy in like a bad home.
Yeah, no, I love that.
And that's why I like Jim Carrey.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that makes, and you know, what's funny is I think Jim Carrey's such a staple for, I mean, I won't say millennials, like us growing up watching him, and their movies I don't think were made for us as kids. I mean, I know we're like this about the same age and in the 90s. But we wanted to imitate everything he was doing, you know, and I feel like he's one of those people. And what did he do growing up to be a comedian? He would stare himself in the mirror and make himself laugh and you know, try to pull as many jokes as he could to himself, you know what I mean? And it's funny that, you know, you kind of mirror what he does.
And that's probably why he's so animated in the face. Like he's very face animated. But I actually learned that from him, like the whole look at yourself in the mirror thing. Yeah. It's, do you have anxiety at all, or do you know anyone who does?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, so I have really bad anxiety, and it's a lot better as an adult. Mm-hmm. I like to think that the anxiety is the same. I'm just better at dealing with it. Mm-hmm. But there was a thing where I would struggle a lot with like being able to accept certain things and deal with it. And I was a little bit social awkward, which is kind of hard to tell because I do very well socially now. And I remember seeing this thing with him where he would do the thing in the mirror, and so that's how I would make myself laugh. Also, when I was crying, when I used to cry. When something happened, like someone would pass away or something, I would go to the mirror
and look at yourself cry. And
I looked so ridiculous it would make me laugh.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if I would do that to laugh, but I used to go look at myself and like be like, "You're so pathetic." Like, look
really?
at like, Jesus. I don't know how dark and deep I was getting, but I go look at myself in the mirror crying. I'm like, man, that's horrible. You should probably stop. Like,
you do look bad when you cry. Not you. I've never seen you cry, but like in most general, people, it's weird if you look good crying, then like that's not a good talent. But it would make me laugh because I look so ridiculous. When you cry, you kind of let go, which is good. I'm not telling anyone to not cry, but I would go to the mirror and look at myself cry, and it would make me laugh. And I would find joy in like a really, really dark moment. Mm-hmm. And so I used to do that a lot, but I learned that from Jim Carrey too.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that have anxiety, I was actually talking to a friend about this recently who struggles with eye contact. She will talk to you kind of like this, like the way I'm talking to you now.
And they kind of look up at you every
and
now
you'll get a quick like thing, but it's like very rare.
Yeah.
And it's not just you, it's strangers, anyone looking down a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I was telling her, like, I think she was trying to figure out why she does it, which is also probably a good sign. Anyone that says, I do this thing, you're already in the right place.
Right.
Because most people that don't recover from stuff or change is because they don't even know it.
Right.
So the fact that she even knows it is a good sign. But she was essentially, I don't remember how it came up, but she was asking like, I don't know why I do this. And I said, I pretty much asked her like, well, a good test would be like, how do you react to yourself?
Yeah.
And so this is recently, so I don't know. Hopefully she'll get back to me and tell me how it went. But I was telling her, like, next time you're in the mirror, try to have a conversation with yourself in the mirror. And if you can't hold eye contact with yourself, then maybe there's something bigger going on.
Right.
And there's a way to work with that. If you can, then that might help you identify, like, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the way you feel about other people. But I have a sneaky suspicion that it is an issue to look at yourself.
Yeah.
I think it will be hard for her.
Right. I agree. And also, do you think eye contact has anything to do with that voice in your head? I mean,
what would be the voice?
I know that's kind of come up more recently, and I've seen that, and it's kind of true. Some people don't have that voice in their head that they can kind of talk to. Does that make sense? Like, you know, you can be like, is that a good idea?
Like the inner dialogue?
Like, no, Tommy, yeah.
Like Venom?
Don't do that. Yes. They have that venom in their head. But some people don't have that.
They don't have that venom.
It's insane. Like, because, I mean, I definitely do. Like, I have blown on conversations about
I have full arguments with Laura in my head.
Yeah,
like, I have full arguments because I'm like a stupid, like, control, like I'm going to be ready.
Yeah.
And so I have a full argument and I picture what she would say and what I would respond. By the way, it never works out that way.
No, of course not. And then you remember everything after you're like, oh, I should have said this.
But I'll have full blown arguments with myself as her in my head. Mm-hmm. That's how stupid in tune I am with my inner dialogue.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if the whole eye contact and being comfortable in front of people has anything to do with not having the inner dialogue, because you can't be as direct, maybe, or maybe they're almost too direct because they don't have the voice there.
I think this would be true of this person, but I don't know. This is all a guess. And the only reason I think I know is because I struggle with something similar. I think it's really difficult to look at yourself in the mirror and that's a phrase people say, but when you look at yourself, it's like people don't treat others how they want to be treated. And so they feel really comfortable with the way they say and present things. But when you're forced to not only say it, but also receive it, it becomes different. And I think it's uncomfortable. And I think if you can look at yourself in the mirror and have a conversation and it's uncomfortable, I think there's some growth there.
Right.
I think it means that there's something about yourself you're uncomfortable with, because either you can't hear difficult things or maybe you're just weird at saying them. Because either way, you're both ends of that. You're the speaker and the receiver.
Right.
So something's off. But if I had to guess for this person and for most people, it's that they don't feel comfortable with themselves, which is why if I don't feel comfortable with myself, I'm not looking at you because I don't feel comfortable with you. It's because I don't feel comfortable with the way you'll receive me looking at you. And I know that we're getting really psychological and weird here.
No, that makes sense.
But I think that's what it is. I think she is nervous.
That's like the people pleaser part of what you're saying. I feel like you're more so worried about how
you're also your own worst enemy.
Yes,
you're worried so much about stuff that you don't even give your opportunity to give a react. Like if you don't look someone in the eyes with a conversation, or if you're having anxiety in a conversation, you're already setting yourself up to be the weird person in the conversation.
Right.
Instead of giving yourself the benefit of the doubt and feeling comfortable with yourself, you at least give your chance to be someone that someone looks up to or admires. You also give a chance to be someone that's a douchebag and they hate, right? That's also an option.
Yeah.
But if you do none of that and just let your anxiety take over, you're just the anxiety person,
right?
Or the person that was weird. And then maybe the other person goes like, what's wrong with me? Do they not like me? Do they hate me? Did I say something stupid with something on my face?
Right.
Like it leads them to worry about it. Doesn't work out well for anyone is my point. So I'd almost prefer if this person just felt comfortable with themselves, knowing that this other person, they could judge you. Maybe they think you're dumb. Maybe they think you're smart. Maybe they think you're stupid. Maybe they think you have the worst advice. Maybe they think your eyes are dumb. Maybe they think your head's weird shaped. Maybe they think you're the coolest person they ever met. Maybe they think you're the most beautiful person they've ever met. There's all these different things. You have to accept them all. If you're going to accept that they like you, you also have to accept that they hate you.
Right. That's so true.
And just kind of move on from it.
That's a good way to put that.
But you really have to and I care. I don't want to come off as someone who doesn't care. I care what people, if you left here today and thought I was dumb, I would care a little bit. I'd be like, why? But it wouldn't ruin my day.
Right.
I would also I would try again. I have a really healthy relationship with that. So you should care a little bit, but if it's impeding whole moments, that's not a good thing.
Right.
What do you think?
Elaborate on my feelings on the whole subject.
Elaborado?
Elaborado.
Little elaborations.
Some elaborado.
Tell me more about these wonderful thoughts.
I feel like getting into this conversation, I'm really thinking deeply on
get deep. Get nice and deep.
Getting real deep. On
understand me.
On the anxieties that I have.
Do you have some anxiety? So tell me about yours, because maybe it's a different version of mine.
So I feel like a lot of my anxiety is kind of I think a lot of mine relies on stress. I think I have a lot of stress anxiety as far as overbooking myself.
Give me a scenario that you would feel anxious.
Singing on stage.
Okay. But so far pretty normal.
Any sort of confrontation. I'm like the least confrontational.
Men and females?
Anybody.
Okay.
I'm non-confrontational. I'm a people pleaser. You tell me something, I'll take it and I'll try to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit here and shake my head. And I've gotten in trouble so much in the past for being okay.
See, I'm not like that at all.
Okay. I'm not one that's well, you did this and this. It's okay, my bad. I'll work on it, or what I mean. And not just with girls, but just with anything in general. If it comes to
you don't
work,
like confrontation.
I don't. Yeah, I think confrontation's a huge anxiety for me. I think what's funny because I look at myself as very very out there, and I can talk to people for days, but speaking in front of groups and having conversations with certain people give me some really deep anxieties. That,
really, you do really well. I would never guess that.
Panic attacks.
I would never guess that in a million years.
And so I know, and it's something because it's I know some people, and then here's my thing too is I feel like I underplay some of my anxieties. I know people have some more legit anxieties about stepping foot outside, and you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I don't want to compare to that because that seems more serious.
That's different. Like agoraphobic, someone who won't leave their home.
Yeah, exactly.
You're allowed to use anxiety. It's like saying hurt, that hurt me. And then you see a guy that's missing 2 legs and 2 arms. You're still allowed to mention you're hurt around that person.
Right.
And understand they were hurt in a different way.
Right.
And so it's the same thing with anxiety.
Right.
Everything you're saying is anxiety for sure. But it doesn't take away from less or someone that has it more. It's just the reason why I ask is because I like to understand, because when people hear anxiety, they picture a guy breathing in a bag. It's always the mental picture.
Exactly.
But that's not what it is at all. And it's funny that you mentioned that you have anxiety during speaking. I would never guess, because you speak so well in one-on-one situations, but also in group settings.
Yeah. And that has a lot to do with who I'm around. And it's funny because everybody's like, I have these new friends and this and that, and I get around these new people, and all of a sudden people are like, what's wrong with you? You don't seem the same, you know what I mean? And I think I'm a very, like I said, I'm very out there, and I feel like I over talk sometimes, and I I can say inappropriate things and this and that, and I think everybody finds it hilarious. But once you know me, if you don't really know me, it's I don't want to cross that boundary, and not just being inappropriate, but just talking and being loud and obnoxious in general. I always tell people, I'm loud and obnoxious, get used to it. You know what I mean?
I feel like I have the same, I think we're similar in that way, because I'm also the same person that feels like they talk too much. I never want to overpower a crowd, but I enjoy talking in crowds. So I always get self-conscious. Am I becoming the center? Am I taking away from someone's thing? Right.
Well, anytime I've worked anywhere, they're like, you are not who I thought you were going to be. You know what I mean? They're like, you're probably one of the funniest people I've ever met. And when I first met you, I just thought you were just this chill dude that, was kind of to himself. And that's exactly who I like around new people. I don't feel like I fully give myself to, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to overstep and ruin people's image of me. And that's not necessarily the best thing to do. You should, I feel like people, it's I teach my kids, you should always be yourself no matter what.
I think you should. I think you should also try to take an effort of the people in the room too. That's always a thing, right? You should try to be yourself. But look, myself might offend someone. And if I can catch on to that before, my goal is always to not offend someone, right? Exactly. So if I do, just know my intention is not to. But if I can identify I really offend this situation a lot, then I can do some things to stop it. Not because I want to be a different guy, but because I don't want anyone offended. And so I'm all right, these are jokes for my friends.
Right.
This is not a joke for a stranger. So I need to get to know this person and save this type of joke for when I really get to know them. And it kind of helps with boundaries and stuff. But it's funny because we can relate on this level of when you're the talkative person and you're the person that people that joke a lot, it comes from a wonderful place where we just want joy. We just want laughs. And the same way someone gets a high off of little drugs or being on your phone or getting likes on YouTube, if you're someone that's funny, you get a little bit of a high off someone laughing or someone saying that guy's funny, that guy's hilarious. Oh my God, Tommy was the funniest guy at the party. I could not stop laughing. That makes you feel something. It releases some endorphins. It feels good. And so that's the intent. Right. But there's also the same exact Tommy that goes to a party and maybe offended someone.
Right.
And they're like, Tommy was joking about, he said a gay slur twice to his friend.
Sorry.
It maybe was funny in this situation, in this fake scenario we're bringing up. But what I'm saying is, and as someone who's funny, I relate to this. Maybe this person goes, Tommy is a homophobe, or he's not funny, or he's an asshole, or I don't like him, right? In reality, what I hope people do, specifically people that are easily offended, is look at intent. What was Tommy trying to do? Did he make me feel a certain way? Yes. Should I tell him about it? Maybe, so he doesn't do it again. But was he trying to be funny? Yes, that was very apparent because he wasn't doing that to me. He was doing that to his friend. I overheard it and I thought it was a little disrespectful. But it's very apparent that Tommy was not trying to offend me. Right. He was being funny. And as someone who's funny, I hope people do this, but I also understand they probably won't.
Right.
Probably just going to offend them, right?
Yeah.
But I really hope that people that get offended a lot understand that I don't want to figure out why. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I don't care. I really just want you to be able to approach me in an appropriate way and understand that I was trying to kid. I'll give you an example. If you offended me at a party, here's how I'm going to approach you the way I hope someone would approach me. Mm-hmm. Hey, Tommy, hilarious, man. Just want to let you know I met you tonight. Super cool. Just want to let you know that. A few of the things, if I'm being completely honest, they kind of offended me. This is what you said. And I know that you weren't trying, because this is the part where you start apologizing.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to offend you in any
sort of way. Trust me, before you say anything, I already know that. Like, I could tell that your intent was to be funny, but it did offend me, just so you know. And I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, those kinds of things offend me. So I just want to let you know. Right. Like, isn't that easier for you to go like, dude, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, as opposed to like, you're a fucking asshole, Tommy, and I'm never coming to your party again. And I'm telling all your friends what an asshole you are. What
you just did would be the most ideal scenario.
But it's not going to happen. Huh? Wouldn't it be cool though? Let me live in my world, Tommy.
I'm like, yeah, there's so many, what's funny is I got this a lot in high school and college. Guys would come up to me, mainly guys. I'll put that out there right now. Yeah.
Okay. Mostly guys.
Hey, Tommy, you're so hot. No, I'm just kidding. No, guys would come up to me.
What's that cologne or is that perfume?
Yeah.
You tell me, big boy. So these guys would come up to you.
I was about to go somewhere crazy with that. Okay.
Don't joke.
I know.
We will cancel you.
Don't joke on the camera.
There's 10 people from Turkey about to cancel you right now.
They cancel me. Bring it on. Guys would come up to me all the time. They'd be like, dude, you are so funny, this and that. I'm like, people that I kind of would get to know, they're like, I'm not going to lie. I thought you were the biggest douchebag. Like, I never knew you, but just seeing you at school or seeing you here, like, I was like, dang, that guy's probably a douchebag, this and that. But dude, you're so cool and you're so funny and this and that. And I'm like, I mean, thanks, I guess, And the thing is, like, I do, like, I love everybody. And I don't really feel like I have, like, any real enemies, but it was a thing in, like, high school and college. You're like, man, I can't believe I didn't get to know you. Like, you're cool and you're funny. And I just always looked at you and you're like, man, he's such a douchebag. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll be that.
I guess it's a double compliment.
Yeah.
Is that at one point you were a douchebag to them and then you won them over.
Yeah.
And they're like, damn it, I can't believe I thought you were a douchebag. Yeah. It's like a double compliment.
Yeah. I think you're right.
You work twice as hard to make the same friend.
That's like my life goal.
Here, man.
Yeah. I'm just being an optimist, you say. I'm just trying to win everybody over. That's all.
I think it's just growth too. You understand things when you're older that you don't understand when you're younger. And people are just so different. Going back to like the Middle Easterns at the bar, I met so many different types of people that I realized that like sometimes people just sound rude. I know some Korean people that sound like they're yelling at you at all times. Mm-hmm. Turns out that's just how they talk. Yeah. Everything's just a yell. Like, get over here, come over here, come over there. You're my best friend ever. I love you. Like, it's just like all those are the same pace. And so it's like, if you never took the time to understand, you just see it like a really angry thing, Yeah. But culturally in life, like people are just meant to be understood. And when I don't understand, and I wasn't always this way, so I don't want people listening to be like, I remember a story where Will didn't do that.
Yeah.
Probably there's tons of stories. But today, the Will you know today, I like the more I don't understand a person, the more I want to.
Right.
And so I will literally go out to, whether it's a bar, party, event, me and Laura will go do stuff and I'll meet someone and I'll slowly drift away. It could be Laura, who I'm with, you, Chris, it could be like 10 close friends. And there'll be some stranger that's fucking weird. Mm-hmm. And I will spend all my time with that stranger that's weird.
That is you.
And Laura's like, babe, like we're all hanging out. And I'm like, but like,
you're one of those. You want to get to
over
know
here is telling me about his corn farm and he lit his sister on fire and he regrets it. Like, and he can't pronounce S's. Like I really needed to get to know this guy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how my mind is. And like, and afterwards I'll be like, oh, I should have spent time with my friends. But I'm really intrigued by the unknown, and I think that benefits life. I think it allows you to know and understand people. And the more you can understand people, the more you're going to get places in life. These are job opportunities, these are friend opportunities. If you're single, these are relationship opportunities. Like the more you can understand, the more like knowledgeable and the more better decisions you make, and the happier your life will be.
Yeah.
At least that's
I love that you said that, because that's one thing that I think, I really look up to. And that fact is you are somebody who will always go to anybody. I mean, really, like you said, like almost a person you don't know.
Yeah.
And you will dig. Like recently at a birthday party for my son. And I feel like, one of my best friends was there, who lives in El Paso. And I feel like you guys talked like the entire time.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I never said, "Hey, I'm Will. What's your name?"
Yeah.
I might have said
because I'm horrible introducing, so I definitely didn't introduce you. I'm sorry.
Bad introducers. You know what? You are, douchebag Tommy. Those guys are right.
I know I am. It's fun hanging out.
It's I think I may have said, "Will, nice to meet you," and maybe he gave me his name. I'm not a name person, but I do remember just kind of like, that's how I can tell when I like someone though, is I throw out a joke or something. Yeah. And it's like, does he get it? Does he trying to figure me out? And he was just on it. I think it was a basketball thing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it would just became natural. Yeah. But I would talk to anyone. And yeah, in that situation, like, I think it just like, he was a super cool guy. Right. And, but yeah, it was never, I never tried. And it wasn't like an interest of mine. It was me being myself. And if he didn't like grab on, I probably would have just moved on to maybe, it sounds bad. Maybe would have been like, all right, well, maybe his wife's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure.
It turns out he was cool. And so was his wife. Right. But that's how, and if she wasn't cool, it'd be like, well, maybe her friend's cool. Like, and I would just move down. It won't deter me. Yeah. I can take an L. And I can also understand that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Right. Some people don't even like tea. Right. You know what I mean?
That took me a long time to figure out.
Yeah. That
took me a long time to figure out. Yeah. And I was always like, I mean, everybody's got like, I'm the cool, like I'm the best, like I'm funny, like you know what I mean, like I can do this, I can do that, and it's like
people literally just hate funny people.
Yeah, and no, and I like you just said, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, like for sure, and it's like I understand that, but like we talked about earlier too, I try to appeal to everybody's. Yeah. Anyways, but going back to
your son's birthday party.
Yeah, going back to the birthday party, and going back to him. Coming back at you with, throwing out some wit and here, some stuff. I feel like I've been on this mission since boot camp. Sorry, I don't know if I'm taking this in a weird spot. I've been on this mission since boot camp about surrounding myself with positive people. Mm-hmm. And people who you want to be around who aren't necessarily going to push you to the next level, but definitely aren't going to bring you down.
Okay.
So I just remember this story, and it's probably something people have heard a million times, but it stuck. I mean, it stuck with me at that particular time in boot camp. And one of my people would call them drill instructors and other branches. They're called RDCs in the Navy. He was talking about the guy. Once you get to your ship, there's going to be a guy who's chilling in his rack because he's in trouble, kind of thing.
What's a rack?
A rack is like a
country
bed.
And boobs.
Yeah. A rack is some double. No, a rack is where you sleep. Is your bed.
Like the rack.
The rack. Sorry, I don't.
No.
Sorry, bed.
That's why
I'm like still stuck in Navy.
I don't know if the listeners will understand. Yeah. So you're in your bed.
So he's just saying, you're gonna go to your ship, like basically your office, your work. You're gonna go to your ship where you work, a boat, and there's gonna be somebody in their rack, and you are going to. You're gonna have two options. You can go hang out with that guy and see what's up, or you can be like, dude, that guy's probably in trouble. I should move on and figure out somebody who's gonna make myself better. Basically, like you don't want to get into the place where you're automatically putting yourself in position for somebody to downsize what's going on and to put negative thoughts in your head. Kind of, that's where he went with that. So after that struck me hard because before I mean, of course I had my friends and but I still surrounded myself with even people that weren't good for me. Per se, but people like you, people like my buddy Marky that we're just talking about, people who really who are uplifting and positive energy. And I'm not as much in energy as as Laura, but I'm a huge thing on picking up on energy. Yeah, and moving forward and positive stuff. So I mean, I guess just where I was going with that was like it was a no brainer that you guys were gonna hit it off and that everything was going to be cool. I mean, you're that person that could hit it off with anybody anyway, but
yeah, you have to try really hard.
I think that's a lesson I teach my friends and kids and everybody is like, surround yourself with
positive people.
Positive people.
And it's weird because like positive, it sounds like just this happy person, but I think
it definitely doesn't have.
I think positive is just someone who sees the best in things.
Yes.
Like but what you don't want is a friend that can't deal with negativity, right? Like if someone's like fighting, if someone's trying to beat you up, you don't want the friend that's like, I don't do this.
Right.
I don't do negative. I don't do negative. I'm gone. You want to go like, what?
Yeah.
You just got negative abandoning me here. Yeah. And so it's a balance of like seeing the best in things. Hey, I don't want to hurt anyone, but this is my friend. You're acting crazy. And if you keep acting crazy, I'm going to have to fight you with him. I'm here. I got you.
Right.
Like, so it's like a balance of that. It's when people think positivity, they always think like just wonderful things. But the reality of it is you can be a friend that's just able to deal with negative and not just feed into it. We all have that one friend And it's funny because it's almost like they don't even know they're negative.
Right.
Have you ever asked someone for advice and they gas you up? And there's a thing that friends do. I promised myself I would never be this friend because there's a thing that friends do where no matter what the person did, they're right and everyone else is stupid. Like if you came to me and said, I'm dating this girl, we'll give her a fake name. Samantha. No, because there's a real Samantha out there.
Samantha.
I dated a Samantha. We can't use exes. We'll give her an obviously fake name like Garagely. You ever see Pineapple Express?
Yeah.
Garagely. So you're dating Garagely and you come up to me and you say, hey, Will, she's just acting stupid. And she's telling me that I don't make enough money at work and I leave my stuff out. And at this point, she's just nagging me. Mm-hmm. Most people would want their friend to go well, screw her. Or most people actually do this. Screw her, man. She's always trying to tell you what to do, dude. That's why I'm glad you came here. You could talk to me about anything, man. Mm-hmm. And then that's what happens. And they go, yeah. And it just furthers your own friend's idea that this person is an issue. Mm. Instead, you come to me and you go, hey, Garagely, blah, 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 is doing all this crazy stuff. And I go, hey, man, do you leave your stuff out? Because I leave my stuff out. So I get it. We're guys, right? But I know for a fact that women hate when you leave your stuff out. Yeah. Have you tried just putting it away because you love her?
Challenge your expectations.
Yeah. Hey, man, you love this girl. The least you can do for her is put your stuff away. I think that's fair.
Right.
That's a real advice, man.
Right.
And I think that that's a friend. Mm-hmm. That's being positive.
Right.
Even though it's against what you just came to me and said. Mm-hmm. I'm really just looking out for your relationship with Garagely. Mm-hmm. And I just want you guys to be happy together. And that's it. Right. And I think friends need to stop doing the thing where we just agree and gas them up. Yeah. Screw her, man. Because here's what happens most times is the guy goes, screw her, she's dumb. And then that guy goes home with her. Yeah. I'm like, she's going home with her tonight. They're going to get to bed together and you're going to be the friend that was talking shit because he's going to go back with her. Right. He's just venting. That's what people do. People vent. And so it doesn't necessarily mean you trash the girl he's with.
Yeah.
So I don't know if girls do that too, probably, but I know guys do it. And I think we should stop that.
I feel like more mature girls, as far as age wise, I'm not going to categorize, but I feel like the older you get, the more questions. Well, are you doing that? Well, it's not so much screw. I feel like more the younger is no, screw that guy. You could do better, this and that. You know what I mean? But I feel like as you get older, you're like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
Are you doing this? Are you not?
I think everyone should always ask themselves. If someone tells me right now, I guess I was about to go something obviously wrong, but if someone right now told me or a friend told me, hey, this person thinks that you're too animated, I wouldn't go well, screw him. Yeah. I only hang around positive people.
Yeah.
I would be like, wait, am I?
Yeah.
I would start off with that. Am I? Let's find the facts first, regardless of emotion. You know what I am? This whole podcast, I move my hands around. I do it all the time. One of the things that people tell me all the time, Will, you tell stories with your hands.
Yeah.
It's how I roll. Yeah. Like a Power Ranger. Yeah. Fight. Let's go, guys. Remember they used to always do that?
Yeah.
That's how I am. So I would go, okay, I do. I would start off there. I wouldn't just immediately jump to the other one. I am animated. All right. Now I'd move on to step 2. Is this that big of an issue? Maybe that I hit him with one of my emotions. Okay, probably not. Yeah. He's just annoyed with my animation. Okay, well, he's not hanging out with me, but I get it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go around talking shit about him. This person, I would just say, you know what? That's how my mind would go. I know I'm animated. I'm okay with it. You don't like it. Guess you're not hanging out with me. Mm-hmm. That would be my thing. And I wouldn't go telling people that guy's an asshole. No, I'd go, he doesn't like animated people. I'm animated. Makes sense he doesn't want to hang out with me.
Yeah.
That's how I would approach it. As opposed to that guy's stupid and thinks that I'm stupid. So he's stupid. Yeah. And screw this stupid conversation. I wouldn't do that. I would no, he just doesn't like I get it. I'm not his cup of tea.
Yeah.
Move on. Tons of people in the world that want animated people.
Yep.
We're doing it at the end for once so people don't get mad. Let's talk about sports real quick because you ended up bringing up that the Bucks won. Yeah. What was the score?
86-83.
Which is crazy. So I'm going to have to really watch that because that game was happening as we're recording. This will come out on a Tuesday. So when the people are watching, they will have already played it another time, maybe even twice. But as of right now, let's get a little bit into the series. Utah Jazz, LA Clippers. They're playing right now as we speak. And they are up 1-0. And I have to admit.
I'll wait till the end.
Yeah, don't look. I have to admit, again, when this comes out, this game will have already happened. So, and I made picks with Nick Clark here on our podcast episode. I picked the Clippers to make it to the finals, and I picked them to play the Brooklyn Nets, and I actually picked them to win. And he picked the Jazz. So right now, one of us is wrong after this series.
Well, I picked the Jazz because I'm one of 2 Jazz fans in Las Cruces.
So you picked the Jazz because you're a Jazz fan, but the Jazz were the number 1 team in the entire NBA.
I'm also picking them. I want them to win, so I'm going to say Jazz win, but I'm putting Brooklyn Nets are
representing the East. You think so? It's a lot of talent. I think it falls apart in the end. I think they look so good right now.
I hope so.
And they're missing James Harden, so I could be completely wrong, but I don't think that those stars all come together and do it the first year. They're so talented that maybe they prove me wrong. But I think let's kind of break down the Jazz series real quick. And we won't go too crazy into sports, but just a little bit on this one series. The Utah Jazz versus the LA Clippers. I think that Donovan Mitchell is a star. I think Donovan Mitchell was a star last year when he went against Jamal Murray and they battled it out. I think Donovan Mitchell has looked like a star since his rookie year and just is now getting to the place where he kind of runs the whole thing. And so I'm really, really impressed with him. The team themselves stayed together, which is awesome. Can you imagine if Gordon Hayward stayed there, by the way? He left. Can you imagine Gordon Hayward on that team? Like how they're already good. I just think they would be on a whole nother level. Yeah, Rudy Gobert did not want him to go. He ends up leaving. Whatever.
Yeah, I think. And then first game with the Celtics.
Yes. So that's the second part of that story. Imagine he never leaves and he also never snaps his foot in half. Because he's good. He came back and he's good, but he's not as good as Utah Gordon Hayward. That guy was
right.
Borderline. He was an all-star for sure, but almost a superstar. He was good.
Right.
But I think the Utah Jazz look so impressive in the series. I still have the Clippers taking it. And if they lose this game, they're down 0-2. That looks really bad.
Yeah.
But I can't help it. I think the Clippers.
I mean, it's hard not to root for the Clippers. I get it. Like, I can't be mad about it.
Well, it's hard to root for the Clippers, actually, because they fail epically every year. They have a terrible track record.
Playoff P is my favorite.
You mean Pandemic P?
Pandemic play. He just sucks in the playoffs. He
has been terrible this last game.
Yeah.
Last few games, actually, it's been pretty terrible. But thank God Kawhi's been killing it.
Actually, got Clippers looks like
if they win today against the Jazz, it'll be because Paul George killed it.
Yeah,
that's the only way they win.
Because
it was such a close game.
They shut out the top two in this last game. The center's a problem for Gobert though.
Yeah, it'll be a good series. I still have the Clippers winning it. For people listening, fight me in the comments if you don't agree with that. I think the Clippers are the deepest team, the best coach team, and have stars. Paul George is not proving me right. He's making me look terrible, but Kawhi Leonard looks amazing, looks like a stud. And watching Kawhi Leonard makes me enjoy watching defense. Have you ever, the NBA is about offense. You want to see dunkers, three-point shooters, dribblers. Watching Kawhi Leonard play defense is actually interesting. Not even just like the really intense basketball fan, which I am. Just watching him, the way he plays, he is so good on defense. No. So good, so smart, so intelligent.
He's like a surgeon. Hands. He dissects. He dissects what's going on.
He knows what's going on a play ahead of time on defense. The way that guys like Rondo and Chris Paul can do an offense, he really knows what he's doing on defense. And I love watching him play defense. Yeah. And the fact that he's also elite offensively now, he wasn't always, is amazing. And I love watching him. Paul George used to be that guy. And I want everyone to be honest with themselves. Paul George isn't the same defender he used to be. He isn't even the same offensive player he used to be. He used to be a really good drive guy. He still is a little bit, but he's more finesse. He used to dunk on dudes. Now he settles for a lot of threes, and he rarely plays defense at a high level. He makes really key defensive plays, so he tricks us, the viewer, into thinking he's still a good defender, but he's not. When you watch Kawhi and Paul George, which you have the luxury of doing every single time they play because they're on the same team, you really get to see how good Kawhi is and how not good Paul George is.
Right.
So I just want to point that out. That's my little segment on that.
Yeah.
I really think Paul George isn't quite the defender he used to be and that we're still giving him credit for.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I think Paul George is
but I hope he comes through.
Everybody's like super team. I don't think Clippers are a super team because of Paul George. I think Kawhi Leonard's just that good that he
unfortunately I think you're right.
Top,
yeah. Yeah. Kawhi is just special.
And I just hope that
I hope you're wrong, and I hope Paul George ends up being the star we know he can be. But you're right. As of right now, he doesn't look like a star at all.
Well, with you saying how deep the Clippers were, I'm going to go back and say how deep the Jazz are. They won Sixth Man of the Year.
Yes.
The defense of the Clippers, I'm going to go back and say Jazz just won Defensive Player of the Year.
Is not. He's not a six man. I mean, he literally was.
He is a six man.
He should not be. That guy's so good.
You're right.
They had the runner-up too.
They have him there for Joe Ingles.
Joe Ingles, there you go. Who also should not be off.
They have Clarkson there for a reason. He definitely could be a starter, but he's sixth man for a reason. He brings energy and.
What is up with these late bloomers like Julius Irving? I keep doing that. Julius Randle for the Knicks. Again, a guy that they thought was just who he was.
Right.
He came out of nowhere and won most improved this year. Right. Same thing with Clarkson. He kind of looked like that's just the player he's going to be, and then he looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll give the Jazz credit. I really like their coach, Quin Snyder, right? He really knows what he's doing. And I heard him mic'd up for one game. Did you just see him? He kind of, again, looks like a douchebag. You can relate.
He looks like me. No, everybody makes fun that he's like a DC villain. He looks like a DC villain.
He looks like a guy I wouldn't want to hang out with. But then when he was mic'd up for an episode, Jesus, for an
episode of The Jazz versus the Clippers.
The Jazz, will the villain win or will the team? Starring Quin Snyder. Give me all your money.
Pow,
and bang. Show me your tits. He's a real villain.
Or I'm going to break you. I'm going to snap you, mister.
I'm going to take your minutes.
And your mittens.
What kind of villain is he? Why is he trying to take our minutes?
Time out.
Not time in, fool. I think we just made a stupid episode of Robot Chicken. Quin Snyder he's a really, I saw him on Mic'd Up, and he's a good coach. And I agree with you. The Utah Jazz are slept on. They remind me a lot of that Dwayne Wade-led Heat team that ended up winning that year. Obviously, Shaq was on that team, so minus the Shaq part. But just the way Gary Payton was on that team, Jason Williams was on that team, Antoine Walker was on that team. They had like
that's crazy. I don't remember. That's
they were Antoine Walker. I was thinking about this the other day. There's this weird thing. He was one of those rare players that shot the three really well, but had a really bad free throw percentage. You always assume like if you could shoot the three well, you must shoot free throws well. He just didn't. And some people are like Luka Doncic. I like that. People don't know that because that guy's so good, but he has a really poor free throw shooting percentage.
Right.
And he actually isn't that high on threes either. He just makes difficult threes. Yeah. So when you see the highlights, you're like, this guy's amazing.
Like, not that he's good at threes, but Giannis is like torture to watch the free throw line. Anyways,
there's some worse ones, but he's bad. But yeah, the Utah Jazz look really good, and he reminds me of that old. They remind me of that old Heat team, mostly because Donovan Mitchell also reminds me of Dwayne Wade. But the team in general just reminds me of that team, and they went all the way that year and won a chip. People forget that Dwayne Wade won one without LeBron.
Right.
But I think the Jazz look really good. I really think at full strength, if Paul George shows up in game one, they win that game. Because they lost by like 2 or 3 points, and Paul George shot like 14%.
Well,
if he's even average, they win that game.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to be average, but they shut him down.
Yeah, he was below average.
Just kidding.
So that'll be the extent of my basketball conversation. I know. But I know you're a Jazz fan, so we had to touch on some Jazz stuff.
I'm biased.
And I'm a Kings fan, so they have the longest playoff drought, by the way, 16 years without being in the playoffs.
But back in the day, like late 90s, early 2000s, the Jazz and the Kings were like rivals in the first round of the playoffs, I swear.
And the Lakers, there's those Western Conference, which again, the Western's always the heavier conference. Here, a funny story before we get too deep into sports, which is kind of sports related. Laura she knows I'm a sports fan. I watch every single playoff game and I'm into them. And she's always like, what's LAC? Like, it says LA Clippers, LAC. What's LAL? I'm just the Lakers. Why are they like just not LA? Well, there's 2 teams in LA. Like, I always have to explain everything to her. Like, what's the Atlanta Falcons? I'm like, it's the Hawks in basketball, Falcons football. Like, I always have to do that with her. And then she'll ask me again. And I'm sorry if I'm mocking you, sweetheart. But she knows my favorite team now. But then here's how bad it is. She doesn't. We played the game. Like it's like, what color are my eyes? And if you don't know, you don't love me.
Yeah.
We did one of those one day, like years ago, where she was like, "What's my favorite color?" I nailed all of hers. She got all of mine's epically wrong. She couldn't remember my favorite football team, my favorite basketball team. And here's the worst part: is I told her,
"I'm all Titans Kings. I already know who you are."
There you go. See,
if you even knew one, your girlfriend? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm totally in. If you even knew one, I would have been impressed. But at one point, I asked Laura, what position did I play in high school for basketball? And she goes, I know. I'm like, you don't know. She goes, I know. I go, what is it? She goes, front backer. And I was like, what?
She's all same at home, right?
She's all front backer. And I'm like, that's not even a fucking thing. Like, that doesn't even make sense. How can you be front and back? Like, that doesn't make sense in any sport. Yeah. I got all technical. Yeah. Like, you don't even know, like, what position I played. And like,
she's all, babe, you tell me that every night you're the front backer.
I know you're a front backer. But it was just so funny that she, like, literally thought that was a position. But to this day, I'll make fun of her. I'm like, you don't know shit about me.
Yeah.
But she does a wonderful job. I'm just making fun of her.
No, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it was my lovely sports story with my girlfriend.
She's so adorable.
I'll give Laura tons of credit for this. She's so thoughtful. If she's not in, which she's not into sports at all, she tries. She will every year attempt to get me tickets or talk about getting me tickets to either Titans or Kings game. She literally is the best gift giver I could ever ask for. And she's really thoughtful and she'll really get to the bottom of something without you even figuring out that that's what she's doing, which shows genuine interest.
Right.
Regardless if she's actually interested in my team and what they do and stuff. So I'll give her 100% credit for that. She always nails that.
Yeah.
She's a good gift giver.
No, she's definitely a very thoughtful person. I'm with you on that. Actually, I have a keychain.
What's the keychain? We gave you a keychain?
Yeah, and I carried it around with me everywhere. And it's Laura, for sure.
That got it?
Because it's a quote.
All right. I'm sure I had a part in this. Yeah. Not all who wanders are lost. Yeah, Laura for sure picked this up.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was kind of newly after me and my sister moved into our own apartment.
That's such a hippie-ass statement.
It is, but, you know, I love it, and it's something kind of cool to live off of.
I love little statements like that make you feel something, but I hate the idea of them.
Right.
Like what?
Here's a saying that goes with you and about 3 million other people.
Or like just some basic thing like, those who are found can never be lost. Like, that's not true. Found people get lost all the goddamn time.
Have you heard Amazing Grace?
I'm trying to think. I couldn't think of one on the spot. But like, you know those stupid sayings are like, teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. And sometimes they don't even know it, but like, fish a man in his lifetime will eat a fish. And you're like, that's not even the saying, but I get like what you were going for there. Yeah. But I hate those sayings because it's like, I get what they mean, but like, can't you come up with like
just so general, huh? Just so like cliche. Trying to be, very cliche.
Yeah, where it's like, all right, I get it. My favorite, and by favorite I mean I hate them, are the memes online where they put like what are the other ones, like, you can't be the king of your queen until you learn to be a peasant for your mistress's husband without the, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and then at the end they put like a picture of fucking Drake or like someone who talks sexual, like The Weeknd. And I'm like, they never said that, and that fucking line is stupid. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? But they'll meme it out like if that's some famous saying. They used to do it with one of those rappers a lot. Oh God, Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates was always on some meme, like but not even a meme, like a cool saying, and it was Kevin Gates. I'm like, that guy's never said any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking hip hop, and I know you don't know what I'm talking about.
I saw Gates. I'm like, cool, Kevin Gates. Is that Bill Gates' son?
Like when you drive into the arena, like, are you here for gate A or B? I'm here for Kevin Gates.
I'm here where's Kevin's?
Head down to Kevin Gates. You take a left. That's where you'll park.
I'm here at the gates. Where's Kevin?
Where is he? Where is he?
Sorry. Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's a rapper guy. I'm not even going to try to begin to tell you.
I know. Well, the thing is, you know, with the music and stuff I listen to, 99% of the people are like,
what do you listen to? Give me a genre. Don't start listening.
Okay, I'll give you a general genre. I think
general genre.
General
Tosa.
General genre. I like to listen to vocalists, so I'll go from the Michael Bublé, which people know. I'm really into like Rat Pack stuff. So people do know that.
Frank Sinatra. Who else? There's 4.
Sammy Davis.
Right? Or 3. I think there's 4.
I'm all Rat Pack. Check me out. I know none of their names.
I know Logic who raps. He calls his group the Rat Pack. But I know the original Rat Pack is like Frank Sinatra. I only know that because of Family Guy.
Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, smashing them keys. Not part of the Rat Pack.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you like old school music?
Yeah. I like old school. So I dig vocalists. So then we'll move to today's. I like Panic at the Disco. type stuff.
Haven't you people ever heard of? Is that guy?
Yeah.
Closing the fucking door. God damn it.
God damn,
Sarah, are you serious? This door again. They should just stop that song in the middle. Seriously, with the fucking door. Are you? And then just the door.
Close the goddamn door now.
And then it, boom.
This is the third time I've said it this song.
That's how the song ends. Seriously, with the door. Fuck.
Man, that guy's vocal range is ridiculous.
Is he good?
I know people are like, like he's like punk, like
he is punk,
like rock. And
you
I'm
sound
like,
just like people.
Yeah, I know. I sound like people right now. But I'm like, I appreciate vocalists, and this dude's range is out of this world for one. And he knows how to sing.
So give me a good one, because again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I actually take interest. I don't think he's a good vocalist, but only because I know that one song.
Okay.
So I'm probably not hearing his best stuff, right?
Yeah.
So give me one that I could look up, or anyone listening. Give me in the mic though.
I know. I was just turning around because I was trying to think. Let me see here. Can I look at my phone real quick?
Yeah. Look at your phone. And while you're looking at your phone,
because what I like his musicianship is that he'll throw in some. He does a lot of minor stuff, and he does stuff that isn't kind of.
Well, a lot of times artists. Have you ever been told about an artist, heard a song and be like, fuck this guy? Yeah. But it's only because they gave you the wrong song. And so like the song type matters. Oh. And so I always tell, like, because of my type of music, if someone's telling me about an artist that I might like, I always tell them to give me their most lyrical song, not their most popular, especially with rappers.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick Lamar. Like I love Kendrick Lamar, but he has some more poppy stuff that I probably wouldn't click to if that was the first Kendrick Lamar song I heard. But had definitely. I heard
Right.
something more deep and underground, then I can hear his mainstream stuff and I like it.
I think that's how we are as humans though, generally. I think we hear something and I don't judge nothing. No, I think we all kind of judge. You know what I mean? I think
our whole job is literally judging people.
Right.
I've had a bit about this on the podcast, like the whole only God can judge me.
Yeah.
We're all judging you, and we're all trying to, like, it may be wrong, but like you're getting judged at all times by all people.
Right.
So that definitely belongs to music. So give me one.
So one that I think, one that really, it was years ago, and my buddy, it's funny because he's into like he'll listen to anything, but it's a song called "Do You Know What I'm Seeing" by Panic at the Disco.
And Panic at the Disco the band, or
it's the band? Brandon Urie.
But one singer, isn't it?
Yes, Brandon Urie is the vocalist, but Panic at the Disco is a band. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think what really hit me hard, I was a music major at the time, and I just thought, that he was taking, the minor approach to the song, kind of hitting you in the feels, having those darker tones was super cool. You know what I mean? And so, his best vocal performance, no, but musicality I think is really cool. But I think that's what goes along with him, is I think his musicality is it just sets him apart from other people. But
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Because I like to hear stuff that I'm like, especially when I'm already not expecting them to be good, right? Because I hated that song, the Closing the Goddamn Door.
Right, it was over. I hate overplayed songs. And Panic this year, they were so popular, has so many overplayed songs.
They're popular this year?
And like 2019, 2020.
Okay.
And those songs were like my least favorite. They had a couple albums come out over the past 3 years or so, and I mean, I think they're great, but they're overplayed songs. I'm like, I'm done with this. Like, and it's some of their stuff that's not so popular that I really dig.
I don't like. No one likes the song that's overplayed because you hear it a bunch, but there's some of them that are just classics, man. You know which one came on recently that I forgot how good it was? And it's not even a classic in the sense that it's old, but it had like a really high peak and kind of went away. And every time I hear this song, I'm reminded of how awesome it is. And I guarantee you, if I played it right now, you would feel the same way, or most people would. Is Swimming Pools. And that Kendrick Lamar song, that pull up, drink, headshot, drink, pass out, drink, wake up, drink, fade it, whatever it is, right? Yeah. I done grew up, like, just the way he kills it, right? When that song came out, it was so mainstream, which I was a huge Kendrick Lamar fan before that song came out. So when it came out, I'm like, such a mainstreamy hook, but then his verse was so good. I remember liking it, and then it became this huge song. But it just makes you feel something. Kendrick Lamar is one of those guys that found a way to marry the idea of mainstream music with authentic, real hip hop. And I love that. Not a lot of people do that. And as someone who's still relevant, I'm really appreciative of Kendrick Lamar. Yeah. There's a couple, J. Cole, I can name a few. I can name a bunch. But that song, I forgot how good it was because that was such a huge club song. And most people listening to the song that dance to it, like pull up, drink. Most people that party to it, they don't even realize what he's talking about. If you really listen to that song, it's not that much about drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but that's how clever he is. He came up with this song that could be both.
Right.
Recently it came on the radio and he's had tons of other hits since then. Mm-hmm. And it came on and same thing. I'm like, oh God, this song. And I just remembered how good it was. And I was like, God, this song is just so good and powerful and lyrical. And you can party to it or you can chill to it. And I'll always appreciate that guy.
I'm gonna have to go back to swimming pools.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Sure.
I used to listen.
I'm trying to think of the chorus.
Here's how much of a that was the chorus.
Oh, that was?
Yeah.
Is there no we
could play a bit of it.
Is there no singer in the background of it at all?
No.
Is it just him the whole time? I mean, I know what song you're talking about, but
there's there's an effect on his voice.
Okay.
He has a little bit of an effect, but it's he was. I remember listening to Kendrick Lamar prior to that, before he got signed. Because he's TDE, but he's actually on Eminem's label. He's signed to Aftermath and Shady Records. But he was on a song with Tech Nine that like was really good. And this girl actually showed me him. And then 2-3 years later is whenever he kind of got a little bit famous, and he had a song called what was it called? Section 80, High Power. It was called High Power. And it was it was way before swimming pools. Yeah. And it got really like famous. And then when he came out with swimming pools, it was like his coming out party for sure. Where he like, I think that was the first time the mainstream like music listeners got to really like hear him. And it's what's cool is like we rarely see that. Right now it's like a lot of like mainstream people that just do like party songs.
Yeah.
But I think he did a good job of finding how to like marry the two ideas together.
Gonna get canceled.
Wake up. YouTube will pull me off.
I don't get all that. Like I don't get all the copyright stuff. It doesn't make sense.
I'll get flagged. I'll probably have to cut most of that out. I get it. This guy's trying to make money.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's not like you're trying to show a song to 1 million people and have it for free.
Thanks, man. You're making fun of my listeners.
No. I'm saying you're not playing his whole. You're not playing his whole song for people to download. I don't know. Hey, it's gonna be more. It's gonna be at least 7, all right? Like, calm down with the 5, all right?
We were making fun of Macaulay Culkin on one of the episodes, me and Stefan. And I'm like, sorry, Macaulay, if you're like one of our 50 listeners, because we were like kind of hitting on Mila Kunis, talking about
it.
Wait,
what's going on? Don't tell me.
They dated for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And that was the point. Whatever the conversation was, we were pretty much like, guys have a chance with any girl. And then we were being like, well, Macaulay Culkin got with Mila Kunis. And so that's a point. Yeah. And then we apologized to him just in case he's one of our 50 listeners. Yeah. And I actually have way more than 50 now, but at the time it was pretty low.
My girlfriend got
girlfriend's Mila Kunis?
She got a Mila Kunis compliment at a restaurant one time.
What does that even mean?
Our server.
You look like
our server, but it was a girl. Yeah. She's like, she's like, you know that girl from that 70s show? She's like, you look just like her. And what's funny is because like there's a moment.
She's famous for so much more stuff. Though,
right. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, girl, how old are you? No, but no, there's one of my absolute favorite movies, and I put it in the 9 for personal reasons, not for the crowd, but for me, is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I love that movie.
I can watch that movie on I don't care. Like,
it usually is on repeat, by the way. If you have cable, if you go to any hotel, Forgetting Sarah Marshall is always on. Dude,
it's funny. Like, it has a good storyline. Like,
I'm a movie guy.
You feel the pain, you feel the happiness. It's like, anyways. But there's scenes in that movie. You know what's funny is the scenes where Mila Kunis is kind of serious and like not so happy. It reminds me of my girlfriend. I'm like, hey,
when she's not.
I'm like, hey, I've seen that face before. And
then she
like almost never gets angry. Like, she's not like an angry person.
No,
like, I would never put her in that category ever.
But people get angry. Yeah, you're not an angry person. I bet you get mad.
No, yeah, like I'll break stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I'm all this glass right here is going through the wall.
Right when I said that, you just smashed it over
4.
People that see me, they would probably see a happy-go-lucky person, and I genuinely and generally am that person. But look, I get sad, mad, I get all the things. I get frustrated, I have anxiety. But it's like that's kind of funny that you mentioned the face, because it's like you picture characteristics in movies,
right?
And like you ever see a character in a movie like they remind me of someone, I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do figure it out.
Yes.
But sometimes you don't. I'm convinced that it's just like a characteristic and not the person.
Right. I can see. Yeah.
Like the way someone smiles.
Who's your doppelganger?
Everyone always said I look like Mathew Lillard.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
I got maybe not so much with my beard. Like when I was younger, I used to get Mathew Lillard a lot.
No, that makes sense. I could definitely see that.
So I could shave off and just have the chin and take Zoe or like paint her brown, and I could be Shaggy and Scooby. I could totally pull that off.
Scoob.
Zoinks.
We got to get out of here.
We got to get some food. If it wasn't for him and his pesky dog, this party would have never been popped.
I'm just trying to find some ghost, Scoob.
Hey, Steve, I heard you threw a party. Yes, and we would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for Will and his pesky dog.
Dude, you do. Dude, it's there.
Zoinks. I used to get Mathew Lillard a lot.
Yeah, that's funny.
Who would be yours? Who do you get a lot?
You know what's funny, and I don't see it, but I've got it from random people. I got it from one of. I mean, I have quite a few.
Okay, give me
from
one.
One of my teachers, and it was like some random lady. She came up to me after like
one of my teachers.
In college. And
like two separate people.
And you know, is this
I thought it was your teacher, and she's like, I brought this random lady to our class.
No. It was two totally separate occasions. But I got Elvis Presley, and I don't know if it's the big forehead.
I don't know Elvis. I know him, but I don't.
I don't know if it's the big forehead, or if it's the way I shake my head.
Maybe it's the way you love cocaine.
Maybe it's the way I love cocaine.
I shouldn't joke about that.
Yeah, I've never done it.
I was gonna say I don't think you've ever done it. Elvis joke. Bad Elvis joke.
I've gotten this one. I don't really understand, but I've gotten it a lot.
Okay.
Is like a younger like Hugh Grant.
I don't know these people.
He's like and Ewan McGregor.
I could see Ewan a little bit.
But Hugh Grant, he's like an English actor, and I'm like, he's old now.
I know the name.
He's old now, and I don't see it, but I'm like, all these guys have in common are big foreheads, and I guess that's me.
Is that, you don't have as you're talking to a bald guy. I literally have a never-ending forehead.
My forehead ends in my butt crack.
Oh, I can kind of see the Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
Why do I know this guy?
Longer face.
Well, obviously younger. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I've had, I don't know. I hear a bunch of people say a bunch
of stuff. Yeah, I can see some hue. I can see some hue in you.
I think in my chubbier days, I was getting the guy from prank. What's that? What's those four dudes that do all the pranks with each other?
Impractical Jokers?
Yes, Impractical Jokers.
Which one?
The one with like kind of like the beard.
Like Sal?
Yeah, kind of chubbier one.
No, I don't think it was like Sal.
Dude, one of my buddies in the Navy, like I was kind of towards the end, and I was getting
He's like, a terrible seaman. He's a terrible seaman.
He's a terrible seaman. We were all seamen, right? I was a seaman twice.
We're all seamen. It's like a bumper sticker. We're all seamen.
I was a seaman 31 years ago. And
Nick Swartzen used to have the comedian. He used to have a stand-up bit about that.
I love Nick Swartzen.
About the Olympic people. He's like, they always say some weird ass saying like, he was the only seaman when he first did shot put. He did like a skit about it back in the day. I'll never forget it. He was only -3 when he shot his first javelin.
But why? You know what I mean? I think that's why he like resonates with me.
Oh man, I love the random sports facts. You ever watch sports that are like involve children, like the Little League World Series, or like or bowling? Like PGA does like a bowling one with kids. And the facts. I've talked about this on an old podcast, but the facts they put up. So my little brother plays baseball. He plays college baseball. He was playing for Pima in Arizona. He actually just got he's made the team here at NMSU, so he can play baseball for NMSU as a freshman. That's pretty cool. Either way, he was what was the point of the story? God damn it! I lost my whole thought.
Oh, hold on, let's rewind.
We're talking about there you go. I like your rewind.
Sports and random facts.
Oh, so he played baseball growing up pretty much. So when he was younger, he made they were playing on ESPN, like they covered the Little League World Series, and he was playing. He was I think in Galveston. Obviously I don't normally watch children play sports on TV, but I was like, I got to watch my little brother play. He was representing New Mexico, and they put out a whole story. He was killing it pitching, and so I was like, I'm gonna watch him, and I'll never forget the facts. I don't know if they normally do this, but they definitely did on ESPN. So it'd be like little Kevin. Like what? I'm just making up a name. Like Kevin's up for bat, and then like Kevin is batting 118 or whatever that. Yeah, 118. He's only 12 years old, and he really hates pizza. Like it was just like it was like Next. You ever watch Next on like MTV where the third fact is always off the wall?
Yes, and so actually most of the facts are always off the wall. Yeah,
and so we were watching one, and it was like
loves
Steve.
Making out with chicks.
All of them are like Steve. He loves the Muppets, and he hasn't seen his father since he was 4. And I was like. And they got like brutal, like each batter. Like, this is Karen's son. Yeah. He's a nerd and he's not passing social studies. And it was like all these facts. And I was like, God damn, ESPN. You're really fucking with these kids right now. They were just like going off on them. But like, and the facts got worse. Yeah. And it was like, all I remember was a legit stat followed by a whatever stat followed by a what the fuck is this doing on ESPN stat? Yeah. And that's how they all were.
Dang, I thought you were going somewhere completely different. At first, I thought you were going to throw like the whole like NFL stats, like, oh, the only player to play 412 games with 16% completions, stat, yeah. And you know what I mean?
He's the only one to blink twice on a Thursday in 3 seasons. Ever since James Naismith invented this award 13 years ago, it like they always say, you're like, what is going on?
Oh my God, I hate these stats. Like
some of those
just
stats
tell me who's had more touchdowns.
But the Little League World Series stats, you'll just watch your.
I know exactly what. And I love when they introduce the kids like, hi, I'm Tony from such and such, and
I'm from Pittsburgh.
I can blow the biggest bubblegum bubble.
I like snow cones, pizza, and I hate charisma. What?
And girls are yucky.
And they're gross. And they have cooties. And I love Miss Watson. Miss Watson's my favorite teacher. And she always tells me I hug hard, but I hug great. I'm the best hugger I ever met. And Steve's stupid. And Christina, you're my best friend. That's how they never breathe in between. Like, chill the fuck out, kid. You need to breathe. Like when kids drink out of the water fountain, like they like forgot to breathe. You're like, what are you, stupid? You're gonna die. You need oxygen.
You need oxygen, bro.
You try to get water, you need oxygen. I feel like we just went off on these kids.
No, dude, kids are easy. I mean, I have kids, so I'm allowed to, but like, I mean, dude, like my freaking youngest, like I'm trying to teach him how to swim, and in his floaties, he always wants me to throw him in the water, and I'll throw him in the water. So he's under the water for like half a second because he has a floaty and it brings him right back up to the top.
Yeah.
But he comes up and he's all, and I'm all, you're going underwater. Like,
I know.
Like hold your breath. Like, we've been doing this all summer long.
I forgot. Yeah. The only time when it's okay to forget to breathe, when you're like 8. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. It's like choking. Like
I was drinking. Forgot I gotta do both.
Up. I know. But I'm like, anyways.
We're gonna have to wrap this up, man. I feel like we could go on for like 4 hours.
We can keep going on.
But I appreciate you coming, man. We had some crazy ass conversations. We'll see how this comes out. How do you think you did?
Yeah, no, I had fun.
Would you come on again?
Yeah, we definitely got to do this again. And okay. And like I said, like meeting new people. Met the cameras today. Maybe next time I'll be a little
there'll
crazier.
Be some mean comments.
Some clothes will be coming off, and I mean.
We need some mean comments. We need to test some.
I'm just such a nice person. Though.
I know, but
I can't be
people
mean.
Commenting and watching.
Oh yeah. Oh, if they give me, they will give me.
If they made it to the end, they deserve to know this challenge. I need you guys to roast Tommy in the comments.
Yeah, roast me.
Roast Seriously. Tommy. Say the meanest things that you can think of.
Seriously,
but only if they're also funny. Not if you're just rude. Then.
But if they're mean too, that's fine. My feelings do get hurt, but I'll recover.
Yeah,
like it'll be fine.
Roast him. I roast him.
Like I'll be sad, but I'll recover.
All right. My brother, Tommy Davis. Appreciate you, brother.
That's so much fun. Thank you for having me.
We are out.